we're all set.
Okay, thank you. In accordance with the state's open meeting law and federal wiretapping laws, we wish all who attend to know that this meeting is being taped by the town's cable access group, members of the press, and from time to time, members of the public. And we will start with minutes.
John can't wait for that new associate to come on board.
That'd be great. Still looking, huh?
Oh, do we have one?
Hmm?
We do?
Yeah.
We're still looking.
Well, still looking, yes.
Oh,
Still looking, yes.
They haven't handcuffed anybody yet.
Got it.
I have the
Oh, the agenda.
or
Here's the agenda, and the minutes are on the back.
It's on the
Oh,
back.
wonderful. Thank you.
Steve.
Where's Ruth? I don't know. I sent him an email.
Okay, it's on the table. I move that we adopt the minutes as presented.
I will second that.
Missing Steve, so I don't know if you have any typos.
Yeah, since I wasn't
I need to
there.
do a spell check. I don't ever do that.
All right, now we can get back. You seconded it? Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes as written or as submitted? Any opposed? None. The minutes are approved as written. Thank you, John.
Yep.
Public commentary, there is no public sitting there.
Oh, there is public.
Well, he'll have plenty of time to
Yeah,
comment
press that,
in the press. All right, budget reviews. So we submitted, some of us submitted questions.
Did we get finished?
Put them all together.
I did not submit questions. I was recovering from a dislocated shoulder,
Oh.
so
Oh.
I did not make it last week, and I've gone through it, but I did not submit
Okay.
questions.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, if you have, after, even if you have additional questions,
I think I might.
feel free,
Yeah.
because
yeah.
everybody should,
Should have a say.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
a question?
yep.
Steve? So what I did is I took all of your questions,
That's great.
put them under headings, selecting on down. And if there were any duplicate questions, I got rid of the duplicates.
Good.
If some were of the same ilk,
Yeah.
I added them together. And it's-
Yep. Good. That's great.
These are good questions.
Yeah.
They are.
So how do you want to, I mean, for instance, I think we know the Monty Tech amount. It's later in the book.
That number's just a plug number because we don't get the Monty Tech budget until February.
Okay.
That's the one for the current year, Laura?
Is it the
Yeah.
44, or whatever?
It was
whatever.
121 something?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the number that's in there is 133.
Yep.
So,
I wondered about that.
yeah, because some years they do increase it, and then it happens so
No,
late,
yeah.
we're caught holding the bag, so.
133, 200. But they, okay.
That's
Are we
just a plug
talking
number.
about this? Because they said it was a decrease. I mean, are we going to talk about the questions?
Yep.
or-
Oh, yeah, I was just scanning through.
We're not answering the questions
No?
tonight.
No.
We're just
Just
making sure we have them all so I can get them out to the department so they can start answering.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first question, why such a huge jump to 50,000 for what? Oh, for inspections, I'm sorry.
Well,
Doesn't that just have to do with?
Inspections.
the
there was
inspec-
no narrative on the inspections. Oh. Huh? Huh? This is the selectmen, not inspections.
The inspections fall under the selectmen. One of the questions there.
Did we ever get a replacement page for this defective first page on,
Oh, it's one of them
Good
defective.
question. I believe she did do it. I don't know that she printed it up. I know I don't have it with me this evening.
Oh, good question about the DPW. Do you know anything about that, Tim, about the audit? Was it done? You don't
haven't.
know?
I haven't reviewed the questions to be able to answer them. I've only.
No, I
Copy of the
know,
copy.
Do you know
I'm
anything about the
curious.
audit?
I'm just curious,
Yes, I
is the,
know. You do have it ongoing.
ongoing, okay. Is there a time when we get the report?
Now it's supposed to begin in January.
Okay.
Oh, delayed, because the last time we talked about that, I think it was December.
Huh, no, it's January.
But they haven't assumed they're doing another one, at least that you saw in the budget?
I have asked them for a dollar amount. It will be another small warrant article. It won't be in the budget itself. It'll be a warrant article like this one is. And the next one will cover fire and ambulance.
I noticed you have historical split into 2 sections on here.
Do I?
Yeah. There's, I mean, though they can just be
Fire,
consolidated.
veterans, ambulance.
Oh, yeah, you have historical
There's,
at the back
there's
page.
historical with a couple, and then there's a back page with more for historical,
Yeah.
You just
just to make sure those get put together.
go one more. The very back is more historical.
Okay, just disregard the historical underneath.
No, they're
No.
different, no, they
No.
just need to be all put together,
I'll
that's
put them
all.
together.
Thanks.
Since I did not add, my couple of selectmen questions are not in here, do you want me to just bring them up since we're
Yeah.
reviewing them all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Question, online postage, what is the time frame? I thought that was a great idea. And I don't see that it's hard because I got mailing to do online postage, and that's mentioned in the selectmen. Another question, on question 1, why are you anticipating, on question 2, it was about the reduction of staff hours and staffing levels regarding OPEB. And why are we assuming the money for OPEB will be taken from staff levels and hours?
I think this was a comment.
We're not,
This
it's a
is,
comment.
yeah, this was a question on a comment that was in the narrative,
Yep.
and I believe, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that was a
Cautionary?
statement, it was a cautionary statement for
Cautionary
in the
note.
future.
But even in the future, why is it going to be directly taken out of staffing? I mean, if we need staffing, we don't have to tie it to our OPEB losses.
No, but the theory is you could, if you,
Or-
if, let's say, for example.
Funding, our OPEB
Yeah. Let's say-
non-funding.
Let's say, for example, that, and I believe the comment was just in general, it was OPEB
Yeah.
and
we should
health
come down.
insurance. It was,
If
it was,
we don't
it was,
continue doing what we're doing.
it was everything. It was health, it was the cost of health insurance now and in the future. And the
But
cost,
we make it happen, that's my point, is the two
Yeah.
are two separate things. One is the cost for OPEB and the other is staffing. If we need staffing, we're going to have staffing. It shouldn't be interrelated as a
Well, you
even
have to, I mean, I
cautionary
think
note.
the reason why it's there is we have to look at everything if it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
And that includes staffing.
yeah. And if, let's say in 1 year, there was for some unknown reason, a 20% increase in the cost of the health insurance, or even if there was a 12-15% increase in the
Which could
cost of
very
health
well happen.
insurance, 20 is out of line, but if there was 10 or 12,
Yeah.
you would not be able to fund
To
that.
add new staff.
Yeah, or you may not even have, you may, within the budgetary guidelines, without having an override, you may not be able to fund everything that's even in place. You may have to cut something, unless you can convince people in town that, yes,
we need these
We need-
positions.
Right.
Okay, I was just saying it doesn't have to go hand in hand, but I understand. It's a cautionary note, and we hire too much staff, we're gonna be top-heavy with OPEB costs.
Well, it's
No,
not
no.
necessarily, it's not even about
It's
hiring
not
too
even
much
that.
staff. It's the structure of the health insurance. That's what it
What I,
is.
what I was,
The
what
cost of
I'm
the
hearing
health
was that the thing that is, if something gets really out of whack, the thing that is most likely to get really out of whack is health insurance and OPEB.
Yeah.
And if things get really out of whack, we may have to consider doing something about staffing. That's what I heard.
Yeah, it was just a general little red flag, that's all.
Okay. Because I noticed a lot, in general, the wish list, which we call, future wishes, a lot of it included part-time, full-time staff, new hires. So if that is a cautionary note, we have to look at what
Yeah,
this
that's our job.
budget is all about.
Exactly.
In terms of staff. I
Yeah.
didn't see much other than
Yep.
staff.
And if there's, because we got that very good guidance, I don't have it with me, from the current auditor when we had this last audit done, where if you add a position, how much you
Another
should,
10.
how much you actually have to add from day one to fully fund that person.
Yep.
And I think we had all decided that's a really good way to do it. I mean, how many times did Bob Thurston ask, I just want the number, so
Yeah.
if we hire a new person,
What
we
is it
know how
per
much to
hour?
pay every year. We have the number, and if we don't build that in, shame on
We
us.
can't sustain it.
Yeah.
We just can't
Oh,
continue to do it.
I saw a lot of those
Mhm.
difficulties. Good, that was the kind of discussion I wanted. I have a question in here about why are we charging charter costs for the old library in 2017? Won't we have moved?
Charter, whether it's here or up at the other building, it's still gonna be the same.
Oh, I see, you're just putting it in because even with the move, there's still a cost. Okay, I didn't understand that, okay. There was some talk about printing costs being combined, and I was wondering about the plan and how soon. There's an 11,000 increase in gas. Again, I understand the electricity because there's been such a outrage at National Grid, but the gas, I'm a little surprised at. I wasn't sure where that came from.
I think that's just showing the reality of the buildings that have been switched from oil to gas, which hadn't gotten caught up in.
Yeah, and the total
in
between the two is the
The
same.
total is the same.
Total's the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was just trying to
Switching.
get it closer to reality.
And even that, given the price of fuel recently, it's probably still pretty conservative. 'Cause chances are it could be even lower.
I had a question about, I understood there was, this is hard to talk about, but there is.
You're
it's a
looking- what are you looking
combination
at?
of 3.9, it's page 1 of the employee budget. It's the increases of 3.9, one is explained and one is not. And I understand some of the others, but. I'm looking at the, select.
Because I believe every person in here, it's the steps and
It's
grades
just the
according
step.
to their contract, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's the explanation. And they vary depending on whether or not somebody jumped to a different,
And it's all has to do with grade. There's a comment later on about recent claims may impact for buildings and liability insurance. What does that mean? Because it looks like a very, well, it doesn't look like a large jump. It looks like a cost. So I don't know what recent claims that may impact, if they're included in this number. If there'll be more, if there'll be less, I don't know what those are. It's a sub-account on various.
Can I make a
yeah.
comment? I mean, can you maybe type up your questions
Yeah.
and give them to Tim?
I certainly.
And then he'll just put them under each of, because these have to go to each
Yeah.
budget, each committee, anyway, each department.
Yep.
And then we'll have plenty of time to discuss, but this is gonna be a waste of our time.
Because if you just look through the questions and see if yours are duplicated or if you have additionals. Okay,
Some of the ones asked were duplicate.
yeah,
But you'll be able to just add them, right, to this?
All I do is cut and paste.
Right, and then they'll go to the departments, and then we'll have hard to,
Yeah. yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. So why don't we, with the ones we have in front of us, let's just start at the top, so we want to get the questions, make sure that we agree these are all like different enough, and if there's any that we think are duplicative or anything, we can,
Mhm.
or if there's something that Tim can answer, that we don't have to send it
True.
out. So like under selectmen, that very first one, on the inspections, somewhere in the back of my head, I remember you telling us something about that.
Yeah.
It was, but I don't remember it.
We have the budget page, but no commentary.
Oh, that is, if you look at the inspections
Budget.
page, which is,
It's after ambulance. It's in two.
It's in two.
It's in two, at the end of two, section two.
oh, yes, it's the very last page, thank
I
you.
think I asked that question, I kept thinking we should know that, but I couldn't remember why.
Because wasn't it was something about the estimate versus the,
It was from
Salary.
1,000 to.
or did we change it to, was that one of the things we changed for this
A
year, for
bucket, you mean a
FY?
bucket or something changed?
I seem to remember, it was not, there's not a change in the actual money, it was a change in how
How
it
we-
was,
how
how
we-
it was accounted for, how it was
Yeah,
logged.
we don't have that much more.
Still
to
trying to
do than-
find where you are on this thing.
Back, very last page of tab 2.
Okay.
Yeah, these numbers
And what
Oh,
we're
there
looking
we
at,
are.
it's the building
That's what I thought,
inspector.
it makes no sense, it's the other numbers are wrong,
First three numbers are wrong.
yeah.
Oh.
We
Yeah,
don't
well,
love
the
those
first
up.
three numbers aren't consistent with her roll-up.
Correct.
Yeah, right,
They're all like 47,
Yes.
49,000.
right,
Yeah.
So it's really not that different.
right,
So the numbers on the sheet are not right.
The
correct.
first 2013 through 15 are wrong.
But I understand what you were saying, because I was thinking that too.
Yeah,
Are we
yeah.
somehow showing it differently in how he's,
Okay, so that just,
So can we get the right
that
numbers
just
at
needs to
some
go
point?
back for correction.
I assume they're here.
I'm making notes to give to Lorraine now.
Yep, okay.
So we don't need to pass that one
No.
forward?
You have to,
Building
one thing you
inspections.
should be aware of is all the numbers on the sheets
Okay,
prior
So
to
it's the other
FY
50 down
'17,
here, And these are all like
Are
49 to
pre-
42.
okay.
They're
they're
pre-populated.
pre-populated before the departments get their budgets. So
right,
I will have Lorraine
Lorraine can do
make
that.
that correction, give you a new sheet.
Okay. Types things, the purchase services, the town audit for 20,000. DPW department audit results still expected this month.
The answer to that we just got
We
was
just-
a no.
Okay. But we should keep the question, will you be
You're still-
requesting
right,
another
you're still-
department audit in FY 17?
All the questions that are on here, unless you want to take one off,
Yeah,
you're gonna get answers to.
yeah,
I might give
right,
you an answer
right.
tonight, but you're gonna
you're
get,
still gonna get it.
you're gonna get it in writing.
yeah. We'll take off number 1 under selectmen, because that's
That's
just a correction though in your notes to Lorraine. The public building maintenance fund, there are 2 different versions of the question. There's number 5 and number 8. We probably don't need to have them answer it twice.
Twice, right,
Right.
Actually, you do, because if you look at 5, it is the 75, and the second one is the 75 the right number?
Right.
Yeah.
And the follow-up to that, Alice, was yours, was average spend for the last 3 years is 12K.
Yeah, well, and the budget
Yeah.
declined from 24 to 22.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
it's sort
The
of all
budget,
one.
the budget decline, I did the budget. Leo was the one who put forward the $75,000.
Right,
Yeah.
When I did the budget, I took the fact that we had new town hall,
Hmm,
and I reduced it from 24 to 22.
okay,
There'd be less maintenance there, right?
Correct.
okay,
Okay?
yep,
So that's what I did.
okay,
Leo wants it to go from 22 to 75.
yeah,
Yeah, so I think number 8 is a really good question, because that's something
Right.
they're gonna really be able to answer in depth to us, because they've talked about it.
Correct.
in depth.
So maybe we don't need 5 then, maybe
Okay.
just kind of.
so cross out 5. And I know Leo has said he himself said, 75 might not be the right number.
Well,
Yeah. It's just-
we need the backup to that, because he
Yeah.
also, in here, they say it's either the 22 is included or not, or in addition. We're either talking really 50,
50 additional, or is it?
or is it 75 plus the 22?
Oh, no, it's not, I know it's
No.
not,
No,
it's
it's
not
just
75 plus the
Okay, but
25.
then
Bumping the
it's-
whole
Yeah,
budget.
It's
22
75 total.
less.
yeah,
Is that 22 included or
And-
not? And they
Some
had
higher
a
number
Yeah.
do proper maintenance.
options there.
and Leo asked me to meet with Tim and Lorraine on some things, and this was one of them, and what he was hoping for, but I don't even know, Lorraine was gonna look into it, to see if there was some way of setting up an account where you could say, this account
Yep.
stops at 75, you use however much, so that you're only putting back in what you spent, but she's not even sure there's a mechanism to do that at this point. So until that's, assuming we'll just assume that does not get figured out, then we just need, to discuss and hear the viewpoint on what's the right number.
Right, justifying that.
Yeah,
What I'll do is I'll move question 8 up to where 6 is, and then move everything else down, so that,
Well, you really need to answer 9, and then you can kind of back into the budget, right?
Yeah,
And 9 is the same subject.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I mean, if you have 9, then you kind of have an idea of costs, and then you can sort of back
I'll
into
bunch
it.
those together.
Kind of consolidate all of those.
yeah,
under
it's one
maintenance.
question with a lot of
Mhm.
detailed points, okay.
I'll have them follow one another in somewhat order.
Now, question 6, did we,
Yeah, Tim
you
just
you just
answered that.
answered that.
Tim just answered that by saying it's either here or in the new, it doesn't matter where it is, it's
Whether
still
it's
gonna
here
be
or
a
up
charge.
It's
Yeah.
charter, well, yeah.
So 6
Let's drop that
can
one.
disappear.
Well, you're still gonna get a written response to it.
No, why should we get a response if you already answered the question?
Because you want it in writing. So it can go in your book. So that in February, when you're going over this and you're.
Yeah, and we say, what was the?
Yeah, what
It's
was
true,
the answer?
yeah.
That's a-
That's true. Okay, but still,
I've got to answer it, so
yeah, okay.
I think the
Good
only ones
point.
we should take out are the ones that Lorraine needs to fix on, or.
Yeah, which was 1, and then he's gonna consolidate 5, 8, and 9 into one question.
Yep.
7, that was my question, and you just answered that. That was February.
February.
That can come off. You don't have to write an answer for that one. Because I just
I
want.
mean, we'll ask that question again, like, when's it coming?
In January.
Yeah.
be February.
Yeah. All right, so we're good with the selectmen questions,
Yeah.
except for the ones that Laura will send in?
Mhm.
All right, now, let's look at finance. Oh wait, we got town audit questions in 2 parts. Is it under selectmen, there's a town
That's the
audit?
same-
Is
same
that the
question.
same audit?
Same
Yeah.
question.
I'll move it down to Lorraine.
I think it's just a repetitive question.
And
Yeah.
One's in
finance,
percentage and one's dollars.
Yeah.
finance is talking also about the 75,000 as a wish, where, I'm gonna find it.
And what is debt issued slash ban? I was thinking about that too.
That was my question.
Debt
I asked.
debt issuance and ban, when we do debt issuances and bans, there
What
is
is a ban?
bond anticipation notes.
Oh, okay.
There are costs associated with those,
Mhm.
doing those, and that's what that line is.
So is that
And the question is, why is it up so much?
interest?
We have to pay,
Interest.
you're right, if we have a ban,
Notice.
you can do a ban for 4 years, 5 years, I forget what Lorraine said. But
Where
then
was
it's
that?
a certain point, at 4 years, you have to start paying the interest on the ban.
Other selectmen departments. So it's in the,
Oh, wait, is it after finance?
it is right after selectmen.
This is the one that falls under selectmen, but Lorraine is the one who
Okay, so it's
oversees the audit.
costs
Yeah.
associated with.
There's costs associated with,
Oh, all right, here we go. Okay.
Okay, so we have, so basically the question is, which is number 3 under selectmen and number 2 under finance, we just want them to explain
and it's gonna be put into Lorraine's and it's gonna be combined. I just
that
made note
increase.
to move it,
Okay,
okay?
because that's the same one.
Yes.
And yes, the wish list was for selectmen. I don't see any wish list for finance, which is,
For what?
well, we've got Board of Selectmen funding priorities. Number 1 priority is an increase of 5 hours for the Assistant Town Administrator HR Director, which I would have thought would be in finance, but
Nope.
it's in selectmen.
That's under selectmen,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, and then the other is the 75,000 again.
exactly.
Okay, so those, it'd be nice to have a separate list of all the priorities.
Yeah, the wish list, yeah.
I'll keep track of that.
Yeah,
I've started that.
I
I'll
made a
add
list
to
of
it
the
as we
ones that
talk
were in
tonight.
there.
Now, we've got debt issuance costs at 11,000. How does that differ from the ban thing?
It's a
The
single
same.
combined category, it's debt
That is
issuance
it.
and
That's it,
bans.
yeah.
Well, I saw
Same thing.
something else. I've got debt issuance.
Oh, it was in the forward years, from FY 2018 on, it just had a different name, that's all. That's just FY 18 through 22.
Okay.
I had a question about, we are outsourcing the assessor cost. Is that been, this is, oops, I don't know, it says not available, but it is a cost to the department. The finance department's under finance. So what might that outsourced cost be?
That'd be one of your questions?
Yeah, that would be a good question, right.
The other thing I saw in 2 places was our instructions, our letter said,
Yeah.
do not, start everyone back at step 1,
A new hire.
For new
new
hire.
hire. Now, we have high-level retirees in Janet and in Lorraine.
Right.
And it seems we have to rethink and use our common sense on these things.
Well, that is exactly why there is this contingency in there for Lorraine. If you
I saw a
noticed, there's a
contingency, But I didn't see
contingency.
a contingency for Janet.
Well, it doesn't affect next year based on
Yeah.
her
Because it's
intended
FY
retirement.
18.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just talk, right?
It's just,
Yeah.
okay,
It hasn't been.
okay.
Nobody has twisted her arm to stay on yet.
I don't think twist is the right word.
It would take more than that?
But maybe it's a note
All
for
it
the
takes for
future
Lorraine is a
letter to
$26,000
make sure a
vehicle, she'll
contingency
stay
is
another year.
in for the higher, for an
Well, I
obvious.
Yeah. I think
Thought you'd
that,
like that, Steve.
These costs would be much less for a year.
You know, $26,000 vehicle. New Subaru
Wants it in her
Forester.
name, not just a lease on it, okay.
Yeah, there'll be a warrant article for that.
Oh, okay.
Can we then make it
Lorraine's
the,
Is she getting-
vehicle bribe.
fire
Yeah.
chief's,
I want to buy hers.
I'm confused here, and maybe this probably
Sure, we
isn't
could try to do
my
this.
understanding or whatever. When I'm looking at this technology thing, in the comments, it says in postage account total, or these various things account total.
Yeah, because and I wasn't here the night these were handed out, so where is that in the tabs?
It's down, it's in the
It's in
selectmen.
one, isn't it?
It's in one.
Yeah, so did you guys, in the selectmen, it looks like it's just a call out of technology, so you can see what the technology costs are, but they're actually embedded in a bunch of other lines?
that's
Is that
saying?
what
All
that
that was,
says?
all that was a call out to that was for, basically, it was part of the budget that, for the Board of Selectmen, because we were going over the things were in technology all over the place.
Yeah,
And what we're looking at doing is taking technology, all the technology from, whether it's in Lorraine's, Board of Selectmen,
Okay.
wherever,
Mhm.
in Town Hall, and put it under one roof.
Okay,
That's what we're looking at.
That's what I thought I was seeing, but I wanted to,
And Lorraine and I are working out where it makes sense for it to go.
okay.
So that includes just town hall.
Yep.
All right, so that would
Because it
be,
it was coming up in different places,
yeah,
in different lines, and we're like, wait a minute. We
Yeah,
need
no.
to
Here,
consolidate this
this
into one area.
yeah. All right. So will that switch happen when she does all the financials for this, for FY '17? Okay.
Right.
So
And
we'll
what
see
we'll
it
do
then.
is, when we're going through the budget, when you have her and I on the same night answering your questions, we'll have worked it out by then.
Oh, okay. That should be fun to watch.
No, it will be worked out before we get here. Not that night. This is not gonna be, this is
Brenda,
not
come
gonna
on.
be,
Can you videotape it?
yeah.
Is it standard practice to have certification stipends? Do
Yes.
other towns have that? Is it just
Mhm.
what we do?
No, there are other towns who do.
A lot of other towns? I'm just,
Yeah.
okay, just curious. Are we good with that? That because other towns do it, we're okay with it and it's pretty standard?
What are you on?
Yeah, we're,
In general, people get some stipends for getting certifications.
well, there's different, in different departments. Which department are you looking at?
I know, which one are you
Still
in?
finance, page 1 of finance.
You'll find it in town clerk also.
Yeah, we'll
Mhm.
find stipends in firefighters, stipends, a
That's
lot of,
different.
Well, stipends are
different.
different, yeah, that's very different.
but these are certification stipends.
You also notice they're flat amounts, they're not subject to any
Yeah.
cost of living allowance.
Correct.
It gets thrown on top of the salary,
Mhm.
$1,000 or whatever.
$1,000. I guess passing tests for certification is like passing a course, is that right, Tim? Getting your certifications takes some amount of effort.
Are those certifications renewed annually? I mean, do you have to do something every year to renew it?
Some of them have the requirement for further education and so forth.
Yeah. So,
They're all different.
yeah, and I know that like Lorraine has she's got 4 or 5 of them or something, I forget, but, so this is basically,
I'm just curious how it works.
I
you
think
know?
it's, so, because I remember Lorraine talking about some of them, you know, and it's literally first of all, it's a recognition for the time and effort, because you have to study for them, you have to make sure, you're basically.
test,
Well,
yeah.
and it also ensures that our treasurer and collector and our accounting officer are up to date on all the accounting standards. That's the thing, because those accounting standards can change over time. And, I mean, yes, they should do that because it's their job, but it's always, I don't know, I think it's better practice to have a little bit to say, okay, yep, I recognize you're doing all this extra work, because it's not work that's done during office hours. And it means you have a better quality finance department. That's just my opinion.
Well, they can probably work more efficiently and,
Okay.
Okay, anything, so finance looks fine. Laura will add,
Oh, and the online dog, oh, that's town
Well,
clerk.
that's
That's
town
the
clerk.
next one.
Yeah, we're not
Oh,
there
I moved ahead. Love that.
so these are all different questions. Look, there's no consolidation here.
Mhm.
Just bread?
Son.
Okay.
Mhm.
And do we want to hear anything more on the online licensing program?
Well, I think one of
Is
the,
this number 4 about the online one?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't-
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
then we need online somewhere in there, because it's just confusing.
oh, okay, put online in front of
Online dog
dogs.
license.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's about 60% of the standard and maintenance, 20%.
yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's anything else to be added from others, we'll catch that later. Okay, police.
Did we do land use? Yes,
There were no
There were no
questions.
questions.
There were any-
So if you,
if you have questions, submit
Yep,
them.
awesome. Because they no longer say they have a secretary. And I wondered why they don't have a placeholder since they used to, and now they want one. Guess we're on to police.
wait, where did you see that they wanted?
On the planning board? It
Oh, a
says in
part-time clerical,
addition,
yes,
we
yeah.
want an additional part-time
In the future
clerical
years, yep.
position to assist both the land use and time within the next few years. So I didn't see that anymore. I thought that position, they had someone.
So that goes on the wish list, huh?
It does go under wish
Yeah.
list, number one, but if they had the position this year, why is it
They
not?
don't.
They don't have
They
it.
have Liz.
But they have never had?
No,
No.
Paige
no.
never worked for
For
land
Paige
land
is
use?
use?
Board of
No,
Health.
She was Board of Health.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I
Yeah.
was confused about that. Okay. So that's part of their wish list.
And it's in the future. It's
Yeah, not this year.
It's not even
It's
on the
not
wish
even-
list for this year.
Sure.
That's just a heads up.
Okay. Plus, there was that huge question about office supplies. They haven't used much of it. Used $300 for
Oh, they're
1,000.
dealing- They're dealing with office supplies too.
Okay, yeah.
That's gonna be part of the whole budget process going forward. Is that we're looking to consolidate town hall
Yeah.
into one
I
line
saw
item.
Oh,
All the departments within town hall.
oh, good. So that
Because
there's consolidated
It all comes
buying.
from-
we don't have,
Pile anyway.
we don't have the space to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 6-foot tall, 4-foot wide, 2-door cabinets, supply cabinets. We don't need.
With duplicates of everything in every one, yeah.
We don't need
That doesn't make sense.
We're gonna have maybe
Central
2 in the
supply.
building,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
And we're gonna take the supply budgets from everybody, put them into one budget.
yeah.
Good.
Good.
Makes sense.
Counting pencils, I like it.
I worked for a guy who did. Many, many years ago.
All right. Police. There are
There are 9 questions.
a lot of questions.
I didn't
So the
understand
first
of them.
one should be under ambulance.
Does the ambulance. Oh, so this is
I
a
had a
question
question on
on,
that.
so does the ambulance contribute?
Contribute to the operating
The
costs.
operating,
Correct.
okay.
And the answer is no.
Okay,
That's what I said, no, but I put capital N, so it looks
Yeah.
like I'm saying number one.
The answer is no.
Right, I would like to follow
Space,
up
I would like,
Yeah.
with the question, why not?
rather than the answer is number
Okay.
one.
Yep.
So that no should be in quotes.
That would help. Thank you. And this, and number 2 looks like maybe,
2 and 3, I think, are the same issue. Because I noted that one, the 3 is my question, because as I noticed in Lorraine's roll-up, the number that the
Yeah,
police
I
chief
think
used is not the same number that she's got in her
Mhm.
roll-up for fiscal 16.
oh, so which is the correct number, basically?
Yeah, which is the correct number.
So
Because I think
three
the
can just go to Lorraine.
2% decline is clearly not right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a,
right.
that's
Yeah.
a spreadsheet group.
Yeah, so that's, so I don't know if that's probably not a question for them to answer. I
No,
think
that-
that's an issue for Lorraine to
I'll
check
mark
in.
it down.
Got it.
Yeah.
So we'll take 2 and 3
2
off.
and 3 are
She
for
and I will have
Lorraine.
a fun time at coffee tomorrow morning.
Got it.
Okay, and then for,
Nothing submitted for the
Back in-
communications department. I would add to that, what is the status and all that, and
well, which it says
what
right
is
here,
the
what
fee?
is the
But
status?
what is the cost savings? Have we seen any cost savings? I mean,
So,
a whole rundown of what's going on.
the cost saving, I know Chief Denmark did that last year? Yeah, went through last year. There,
Well, actuals.
when he went through actuals, there were, and I can't remember the numbers, there were 2 or 3, two staff people, I believe, that were taken out of the budget and the benefits as well. So that was another chunk that came out. There was also the person that was here, that was left here, because theoretically, all of them were going to, that we were not gonna have anybody. Remember, he wanted to have somebody here just for walk-ins. And he said that probably could be, you know, a part-time person, but wanted to keep full-time. Well, the person is there, it's still full-time. So that was a question I had to him, was because that hasn't quite followed the plan, so that, but I believe every other part of it, people were either took a job over at the communications or their position was ended. So, but you would like to see all of that added up in terms of the actual, the numbers?
It would be interesting because I know in Lancaster, they do not have a full-time person at all. You stand in their little atrium and you call
Yeah.
to the dispatch
Right,
and they
right.
say, do you need a full-time? And it goes to the police
Yeah.
office, the
That's what
office.
happens to us after 6 or 7 o'clock
Right.
at night.
Right.
Yeah, but that happens always in Lancaster. Yeah, I thought it was interesting.
That's how
Yeah.
Lancaster chose to deal with it.
Mhm.
That is not how the Board of Selectmen wanted to deal with it here.
Yeah. So the question that I asked, you know, particularly when you're looking at the ambulance, was since that person is there, can that person do some things for the ambulance? Because that person's not busy all the time. So, you know, if we have a full-time person there, can we use them in other ways?
Yep, yep.
It's a good question.
So I think we'll get the communications number. I think you're,
Again,
because you're
the
waiting for that.
communicate, right, we're just waiting to get it from them. They, I believe, finalized their budget at their last meeting, and we should have it by the end of the month.
So maybe when they get this, maybe add on Laura's issue of, you know, please share with us an
My-
analysis of the cost and
Yeah.
benefits of going to that system.
Yeah, my
What
gut
have you
feeling
saved and-
is that there isn't a
Right,
lot
there
of
isn't.
cost benefit.
Nothing that's
and
been
I just-
documented for us.
Guys, he
Right.
did it last
Yeah,
year.
he did it last year. If you look back in,
That
I can look
could've
back
But
in
things
the,
It's not gonna
change,
change,
yeah.
it's not gonna change in a year.
It was benefit last year, so.
And I can look back, if you look back in the notes from last year, and I can look back, because he did submit all that, and I believe it was something, was it a net 85,000 or
Right.
100,000?
I don't think it,
85, I wanna say
85. We were expecting,
85.
originally we were expecting 100 and something
right, it wasn't
thousand.
as much as we
Yeah.
thought.
And it was
I thought it was
because-
85.
Right, because there was one less
It's
town.
town,
Right.
And that's why, I think, that's why this question was
Right.
sort of spurred too, is
Yeah.
there still another town that may
Yeah.
come on?
There is one coming in, that's why next year's
Is gonna be different.
number is gonna be
Lower still.
lower.
The FY17, the one we're waiting for? Okay, yeah.
Because
Okay.
Bolton is coming in July 1st.
Oh, good,
Oh,
all right.
cool.
So we get a full year, okay.
And then after that, Berlin is coming in the following July.
Oh, good.
Oh, excellent.
So you'll see that number drops 2 years in a row.
Okay.
Excellent.
And how many can they come in? As many?
We only have, right now, the way the configuration is, we have room for one other community depending on its size.
Mhm.
After Bolton Brown.
Wait, what was the first one? After
Bolton,
Bolton?
Bolton,
Okay.
and then Berlin.
and then Berlin. Berlin.
That's
It's Berlin,
exciting.
right? Not Berlin.
Berlin,
Berlin.
Berlin,
Berlin.
Berlin.
Keep it here.
yeah.
Gotta
Okay.
make sure I pronounce it right.
Oh, yeah, the roof insulation, yes. Let's see.
My question on that is, would that be a level service budget or not? Adding roof insulation?
No,
That goes into
Probably
the
be a separate-
municipal building maintenance
Yeah,
fund,
yeah.
it's right there. Because it seems like it's a glaring need, considering all the
Last year.
Considering you
problems.
had icicles 20 feet tall on
Yeah.
the backside of the
Yeah,
building.
and the HVAC system clearly has issues because of the lack of insulation, so so number 6 was,
Well, is number 5 actually a police question, or is it?
oh,
oh,
that's a question.
Well, the police need to be aware to
Right
bump it
now-
over to maintenance.
Right now, the question is appropriate for the police chief, as he's been responsible for the building.
mhm.
Put the maintenance request.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So we'll leave that there. Oh, this number 6, this is my detailed question. And this was, just because he gave a lot of really detailed information,
Mhm, I
and I
know.
was, which was great, I was just really surprised at the low level of hours that are spent on policing for each.
A third, a third. a
Yeah,
third.
no, well, there's two different things. This is on the unavailable time, because there were only 1,616 hours available.
Yeah.
And so, I just started adding up. If you said, okay, you have 3 weeks of vacation, then there's 2 weeks of standard holidays, and then there's also 2 or 3 weeks where you're either sick or you're attending training.
Yeah.
That whole scenario means there's 1,760 or there's 1,800 hours available, both of which are higher than the 16. So I was just curious, what else are they doing that makes that number so low? Because that feeds directly into the need for overtime. That was the reason for my question, because then, at least that's what he said, was all the other, that feeds into the need for overtime.
The remaining need is covered through overtime.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because he used that amount to do the multiplier factor.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I got so we need 5.5 officers.
so we need to,
And then
his
you-
calculus on that 1660.
Yeah, I was just curious, what's going on there?
Yeah, that's a great point.
And then the next one was also my question, because he gave those national standards, and I was just curious if those were,
For the tons,
Yeah,
yeah.
cities or
I wondered that.
8 was your question?
8 was my
9 was
question.
your question?
yeah.
Number 9.
You can tell I just cut and paste.
Please?
Yeah. Number 9, the ambulance people are looking whether they're gonna need some paid
Yeah,
people.
right.
Oh, they are, yeah.
And-
Oh, yeah.
Administrative.
And that's why I was asking if that full-time person could help
Yep.
support it. And number 8, that holiday pay clause thing, you know the contract, I mean, this doesn't have to go back to them, I just,
I can answer that.
yeah.
Not right here now, I don't have it in front of me. I don't-
Okay, because I just wasn't quite sure because you mentioned that the holiday, since the holiday pay clause was brought back in and added to the overtime, and I wasn't quite sure what that was.
Maybe you can answer this question too. I don't understand, what is the current run rate on the public safety building operations? It's 103.56 per day. What is that about? I
I
don't know
believe
what
that would be
run
the
rate is.
expenses to keep the building operational, like heat, electricity, light.
And so that's a dollar amount, $103 per day? Is that what's going on here?
Or is that total operation? Or then you, that's a question to ask, because I don't, yeah, what is
I
that?
have no idea what he's referring to. Or what,
Talking about the building expenses.
Must be a dollar amount, $103 per
it
day.
has to be
Just didn't put
103.
a
Sounds right.
dollar sign.
Sounds reasonable, 3,000 a month.
So you're talking utilities, really, right?
Well, it'd be utilities, like
Operational.
everything, repairs,
And annual number is 37,800. Makes sense.
Okay.
Hmm?
I'm asking
Yep.
because I didn't know what that included, but if we're okay with that one, I'm fine. I didn't know what it meant.
all right. Next one is fire.
Just one question.
Yeah.
Well, I had a couple other questions. Okay, good about the grants, because I was wondering about the grants too. Why were they denied? Do we know? Because that's a lot of money that.
Well, a lot of people apply, a lot of towns apply.
He might, will he reapply? I mean, that's the thing, I don't know, is this potential for money down the road? Is it shut
He's really
off?
good about applying.
Yeah, I
Apply
think-
again next year.
Yeah, now, the tanker truck, that was a one-time only. But I think if you want to know why were they denied, that would be interesting to find out, if he's
And
given
if he,
reasons.
if
I don't know
he's-
if they give, do they
he's-
give reasons?
I don't know if they give
I don't
reasons.
Probably not.
either.
It's
I have
probably
no
just-
And
idea.
is he gonna
bureaucrat.
reapply? Is it?
Nope, nope.
And
Well,
looking
thanks.
at the town and.
Right.
But the big question for me was, I want to know if all these fire trucks are being housed. Do we have a building, a fire building coming up somewhere?
No,
Are we sure?
sure, Capital was all over that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before the ladder truck was approved, I'm
Yeah.
sure we had room for
I mean,
But do we have room for the boat and the truck and the this and the that? I thought we had a little bit of an issue around buildings.
not on the boat,
the boats in the old ambulance.
Yeah. because, I mean, that was the contingency that, Capital put on it before they even bought the aerial.
The new-
They had to make sure it fit.
The new-
Had to make sure it fit,
one.
had to make sure everything would fit everywhere.
Because some town didn't do that, right? They ordered one and it came
It
and
was too big for the.
too tall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Really?
couldn't fit in the bag.
Well, no, wasn't it in the winter or something, when the, something, it
No,
was,
it couldn't fit in the
Oh, it
bag
just couldn't
because
fit
the
in,
top, because
period.
the ladder would hit the top of
Oh,
the
it.
window.
Inflate the tires every time
Yeah.
they pull it in.
and Capital has all of the requests, all the large requests for the next 5 years, and then the next 5 after that, and there's no building for fire on there.
Everything is housed. Good.
Everything
That
is
was my
housed, yeah.
question.
As currently.
And then they were talking about hiring a full-time firefighter EMT?
Yeah, because that's in his notes.
Yeah, I
There
have.
was in the narrative that he was
So,
talking
but
with you.
the
It will not
EMT
be
is
FY
needed
'17.
for the ambulance as well. And,
Well, it's probably the same.
well, I don't know that it's the same. Will it be an article at ATM? Will it?
No,
It's
no,
not
it says
for
it's not for FY
2017.
2017. This again was just a heads up. Because see, it says it will not be FY 2017. And he's also looking to find resources to offset the cost. So,
Yeah.
so you're right in pointing out an issue. The ambulance says they need an EMT. Firefighters saying maybe a firefighter / EMT. So the questions,
Can it be the same
Part-time,
person?
full-time.
Can
can it be the
person?
same person? When is the right timing?
Yep.
You know, so I think those are things to talk about when he's here and when ambulance is here.
Right.
Can we do the two together?
Or the same, Yeah, yeah. If they, yeah, we can ask for them to come at the same time.
I think that would be helpful.
We only have one question for fire.
Yeah.
Mm.
Then we could discuss the EMT issue. Put
Until I get
police in there
Laura's
too.
questions, then the question becomes, do you even need
A meeting.
meeting with the fire chief?
Right.
Right.
That's really an ambulance question, is it?
Well,
Well,
I
no,
guess,
they too have to
well,
work
except that
it
the
out.
ambulance is looking for an EMT type person.
Yeah, looking
And
for
fire says
part-time or
maybe,
full-time.
yeah, maybe they would like one, but a year
Well, it's
I
the
later.
don't-
plan.
I don't think you're
Timing.
gonna do anything until you get the report from UMass Boston on the fire and ambulance.
Huh, that-
When is that?
What's that?
I thought we were
That's the
doing
next
DPW.
one to be funded,
After
no,
DPW.
no.
No.
DPW's being done now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the audits.
So the
Oh, the
next
audit.
audit will be done,
Okay.
will be
Mhm.
ambulance and fire.
Oh,
And I doubt you'll do anything until
Right.
after you get that audit.
Oh, got it,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
That'll fully vet it.
yeah.
But that might be a year from February.
Well, that's quite all right, because
Well,
we haven't
no,
got to
Well,
the
that's fine,
ambulance
because none of
section.
this is
Wait till we get to the
affecting
ambulance
2016.
section.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it just,
I mean, there were a bunch of questions on the fire stuff about their budget. They've got, I didn't
Send them in, then we'll
understand
bring them in.
formally recurring capital. Remember, there's a decrease of 30,000. I
Take a
didn't.
stab and say question two is yours. Andy?
oh, no, actually, no, that one wasn't. The recurring capital, I believe I
Small
think you're,
equipment repair and replace, I think, is that an accounting thing? It's also with, good grief, it says highway construction, but it's under
oh, you know
fire.
what, that's a misplaced sheet.
Sure is.
That goes in DPW, which we're not talking about yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't look at it that closely. Okay.
I was saying, because the only two budgets that had recurring capital were DPW and police, and now they're line items. Remember, we made that change last year, so you will see those items.
Used to have some in town hall for the technology.
That's we put that, not last year, the year
Yes, I
before.
think that's been gone.
It's a line, it's a line item in Lorraine's budget.
Hmm.
Okay.
She's got
Okay.
15,000.
So
It's a
Highway
line item in her
construction
budget.
is just out of
that's
place.
just out of place.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was confusing. Okay.
Okay. Veterans,
Anything for veterans.
is that out of order, or is that, oh, it's after ambulance. No, that's inspection.
I
A
didn't
different
see
section.
it.
Yeah, that's in a different section. Where is veterans?
It'd be
But it
right
sounds like
after-
maybe it's a spreadsheet error or something?
Yeah.
right after
I think it
Council
is.
on Aging.
Just give that one to
Oh,
them.
it's after.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Or it should-
What is, it's right after ambulance.
Shouldn't-
Okay, that one's taken care of. That one goes to
Yeah,
Lorraine.
that's-
That goes to Lorraine.
Okay, ambulance. She's gonna hate
No, I'm the one delivering the message.
me. That makes sense. Yep.
They don't make sense.
Gotta make sure she has iced coffee and not hot coffee.
Yeah.
Just ask around.
For me. No. So questions 2, 3, and 4 are all on the new
Position.
position, which,
Which is being discussed and then they budgeted for
yeah, which they can't just put into the budget. Yeah,
Right, that was-
yeah.
it. That was theirs.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that they, along with HCTV, it's two similar situations,
Mhm.
because they're not using town funds, so they, for the most part, because HCTV has used some of them, but so their feeling was that they can rearrange their budgets and
Mhm.
rearrange stuff accordingly, but, you know, it requires oversight, and you still have to go through all the proper procedures, so,
Plus, they're not paying in the operation, that's
Yeah.
of the building,
right.
their building.
So
that's
ambulance, in this
something
one,
that's-
they proposed it, I know the position went in front of the personnel board, I was not here, so I don't know what,
I wasn't at that meeting.
Yeah, what, you know, for grading, and I had a lot of questions, so I don't know if they actually grade. I have to follow up on that to see what the status is. So there's a question of what is the position, what's the need for the position, then what's the grade and everything.
Part-time, full-time.
Part-time, full-time.
So has it been approved?
No.
Oh, okay, so it really shouldn't be in.
It should not be in the budget.
Okay.
No, it has not been approved. I mean, the request is there.
Goes through personnel to figure out where it's gonna end up on the scale.
Yeah.
And what the
Yeah.
dollar
Yeah, there
range.
were a lot of questions, so
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So that's why it goes to personnel. Just because it goes to personnel
doesn't mean it's approved.
doesn't mean it's approved.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just, they go through a process.
Where does
of-
it go from personnel?
Well, once they do it, then you are able to then have what the dollar amount would be. And then it would need to go to an article at town meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we decide if we see if there's enough money and then
Okay,
go through it.
so,
Then there's an article.
Well, you're on the personnel board,
Mhm.
right? So you could also ask them, is this a position that can be shared with the fire people? You know, because they're
Personnel
looking.
doesn't get into that.
Yeah, they just get
Yeah, they
into,
just do
like,
grade
here's the
position.
position, is it described appropriately? No, the question, your idea of having
Okay.
fire and ambulance in together to discuss long-term
Right.
is, you know, that's the thing that we have to
Okay,
look at.
that's
is-
where we can look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. I looked at all their numbers. Maybe someone can help me. I don't know how much they have accrued towards their new ambulance. I don't know where they stand. The
So-
numbers were
Well, so
mixed up.
they provided a bunch of numbers, and then I ran through the numbers, and they weren't using them correctly as far as I could tell. Because they said, and I did not verify this with Lorraine, in their narrative, they said at the end of FY '15, they have 352,500 in their account. And then they started subtracting off the
Yeah.
FY '17
Here we
budget.
go.
numbers off of that, completely forgetting about
There we go.
the
Yep.
FY '16 that has to come off first.
The 132.
So that's why I gave them this table, because if you look at what they put together, this is in the question. The table that I put in the
yes. Yep.
question. So if you start with the 352,500, they have a budget for this year of 159,000. If they spend it all, at the end of this year, they will now have 193,500. They also said in their narrative that they get roughly on an annual basis 75,000 that
Mhm.
accrues back. So you,
Now, I read that as gain.
yeah, again,
Right.
Yeah, but that also means that they got it isn't just 75,000 they get.
on
Right.
an annual basis, that's what they said
Average was
was
about
the
75.
average amount that was,
Average
that was their
excess.
quote, excess.
That's the excess above the revenues, for the over expenses.
Exactly.
Right.
But that would go into their
And that would go
ambulance
into
fund.
their
But then
ambulance
but in that
fund.
case, your FY '16 is gonna be covered by the expenses.
No, so let's start again. If you look at FY '16, at the beginning of FY '16,
Yeah,
they have 352,500.
right.
Okay. Their budget is 159.
That's what they're expecting to spend.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Right.
So at
They're
the,
expecting to get 159 plus 75,000.
Correct,
exactly,
right.
which, keep following on the
If you
road.
get the 159 plus 75,000, then you have to add the 159 back in.
No,
No, because they spend it.
it's a subtraction. So start with the 352,500, okay?
Okay, they start with 350, they've got 352 in the account right
Right.
now.
Yep.
They are expecting to spend 159.
Exactly.
They are expecting to collect 159 plus 75.
No. No. The only amount, so they, at the end of the year, after they've spent the 159, which you subtract out, the next cell you see, they have 193,500. During that year, as they collect money, the only amount that goes back into the fund, on average, is $75,000 per year.
Wait a minute here now. They are saying, for example, $167,000 a year revenues.
Yeah.
Where is that going?
Well, it has to offset the expenses.
Yeah,
So that was an example for 1
but
year.
if 159 is the expenses,
Oh, I see where what you're pointing out, another issue that I didn't even catch, is that with the amount of, if the expenses go up, then that 75,000, unless the revenues goes up, that extra disappears as well.
No,
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that the accounting is, okay, in fiscal year 2015, revenues were 167,000, expenses were 78,000.
Right.
Okay. Now,
Which is roughly
FY
90,000.
FY16, is the budget up from 78,000 actual expense to 159,000 expense?
That was, that's already been there, done. That was, for this
Yeah,
year.
but I'm saying that,
That was for this year. That was a question,
I-
that the
I'm-
purchase services went up, that's already done. That's in their table. That was decisions they made last year for this year. So the purchase services went up because they had to do a lot more, was that some of the advanced life support stuff and, wasn't it, and some other outsourcing? I mean, that whole explanation was done. If you look at their FY '27, the FY '17 request, you'll notice that some of those went back down, because they said they've asked for too much money, and so they reduced the amount of ask. So their budget, if you look at their request, it's 129,000 as opposed to the 159.
Right.
But regardless.
Because they ran seminars or something, right? They had extra expenses.
Yeah, but then you have to add in this person that they're asking for. So then you end up with a total of 184
Yeah, 150.
for 2017. The whole point of running this table is that they run out of money.
Yeah,
This does not work.
they don't have
You know,
money
it
for the
doesn't work as a
ambulance.
self-funded. And not only, they don't have money for the ambulance, because they're supposed to buy an ambulance in FY '18.
FY '18.
Yeah.
And they had already told us that's gonna be a $350,000 purchase. And that's why that fund was there.
Yeah.
And they've increased their budget to the point that they're using up the fund. And if-
So we need to have them in.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
They think they're
definitely.
gonna be okay then.
Alice, there's just, I think, an arithmetic thing, end of FY, it's 193,500 plus
Plus the
75
75
is
is the 250.
268.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
268?
that's all, unless I did it wrong.
No, you're right,
You're
it's
right.
268, you're right.
Just minor, but
That's what I get for doing it in my head instead,
good.
instead of using the calculator. Yeah, thank you.
and then it changes slightly, but not enough to make any
Yeah.
difference. Good, so, how much do they have accrued towards the new ambulance? Not a lot. Not a lot.
When it's declining.
Well, right, I think that's your point.
That's the whole,
Yeah,
They
that's
may
the
not.
whole.
It's
It
not
might
enough,
look like
it's going
more
down.
now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's
it's-
declining,
yeah.
but so by, yeah.
Okay.
Tim, question for you on that. Other towns that have, I mean, do some towns contract, they just contract out to another service,
Right.
and then you just pay, what do you pay, like a rental fee? I mean, how does that work? I don't know
Well,
how
they-
that works.
they collect.
They bill directly.
They bill
public.
and collect.
Yeah, they bill and collect.
It
Oh,
all stays with them.
oh, and then there's nothing on
That's correct.
the books. Okay. Got it.
I have, this is an odd question. In the first paragraph, they talk about the growing difficulty in staffing weekdays and daytime hours.
Yeah.
But that is a problem I would have expected also for the firefighters, and yet they are available and staffing. And I wanted to know, again, if we bring ambulance and fire in, can they, like, talk about their growing need and why, aren't there firefighters who are EMTs as well? I mean, is there an overlap?
But they're all, I mean,
Well, it's a whole different setup, but we're
There are
talking
Approximately
about.
27 firefighters, and when there's a fire in this town, no matter what time of day it is, there's a
I know.
response.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
they leave their jobs. you know.
Yeah. And how many, I mean, I guess a question, how many EMTs are on the books?
I mean,
That ambulance? I mean,
You have
there's a lot.
Tony, you have Tony Shaw, who leaves his business and comes, responds. You have Bill Barton,
Yeah.
if he's in town,
Yeah.
he leaves his house.
Yeah,
responds.
if David Hazel, if he's
You
in
have-
town, Dave Hazel,
You
he
have
comes,
um,
leaves.
Dave Hazel, you've got Chuck Nixes, who works at Parker Corporation over in Devon's, and he responds.
Yeah. I know a lot of the EMTs are
You have Chuck Nick,
young, you've got a lot of young ones that are, you know, working
In school.
elsewhere, or they're in school. I know they used to leave school.
you have Scott Nogla, who's the deputy chief who works for Pepsi over in Ayer, and he leaves his job to respond. You have any-
So that's
Well,
a,
you've
that's
got
a good
an
question
answer.
for
You got
ambulance.
an answer right there.
Yeah,
But
Well,
that's
I
the
think it's a-
discussion the two of them could figure.
yeah, well, I think that's a good question for ambulance. I mean, because they pointed it out as an issue, so why
That's
is
why
it,
they're
why is it an
asking for
issue?
a full-time or
Yeah.
part-time.
Yep. All right. Okay, so historical,
Hysterical? Oh, historical, sorry.
Yeah. I'm not- Didn't we, are we doing the inspectors? Oh, we
We already
did,
did.
because the
Mhm.
numbers were weird.
yeah,
That was weird.
and we're not doing section 5. That was not on our to-do list for
Nope.
tonight.
Section 5, which one, oh, that's all that.
That's DPW.
That's
Well,
good, yeah.
we're not doing 3 and 4.
That's-
Yeah, 3's the school.
And 4 is DPW.
Yeah, oh, so the last,
Five,
the last
five was-
status on the
We were gonna do
school-
council on aging and vet, we did receive Board of Health,
Yeah, you're gonna get Board of Health tomorrow.
yeah.
Oh, I was gonna ask you what was missing. Cemetery was missing in Board of Health? Will we get cemetery? I was thinking Bob Thurston when we
Who's the
talked about
liaison?
cemetery.
Oh, me.
Oh,
Did you
Did
reach
you
out?
dig them up?
I did not. I did not.
Sorry.
So we're on 6.
Resist that.
So we're on 6.
Yeah, so we're on
So
6.
you're on historical.
Are we
Or
going, skipping to
library?
historical?
Library, well.
Oh, no, go to library,
go to
because that's
library.
right too, those historical belong.
That's
You need to
right.
move those historical.
oh, this was back
Move,
Yeah.
there, yeah.
I'll move them to
Library.
library.
They're not in historical, that's why there are two historicals. It's already moved, it's behind, it's in the right place.
Yeah, but those questions have to be moved.
What's the SLA?
Cut and paste didn't
grant?
work.
Did I miss that? The question 1, what is the SLIN grant that's referring to?
Somewhere I read.
I missed that.
I missed that.
Where are we at the moment?
Library.
Library, first
First
section
question.
of
First tab and
6.
six.
First question came from Don. That's Don's
You were
question.
So where
I
is your,
thought it was mine.
I don't think so, it was mine.
Oh, was that yours?
I think so.
Heidi, where did your sharp eye see that? I don't,
You know what, I wonder.
I just lost.
In the narrative.
it must be in the narrative somewhere.
Or is it supposed to be under historical?
I just dropped my piece of paper that had all the
That's what I'm.
questions on it.
It's in the
Did you read
narrative,
that?
It is in the narrative?
narrative.
You
second
found it?
page, item 3.
That's mine.
Where'd mine just go?
Yeah, I didn't read it.
Second
It's
paragraph.
folded up in your book.
Small libraries
Oh,
and network.
okay.
Oh, yeah,
Small
right there.
libraries and-
Oh, so where'd you find it?
Second
Under
page of
number
the
three.
Oh,
narrative,
here it
item
is.
3.
Oh, okay.
So it's a valid question. Next question.
Yeah.
I do not go over these, so I'm doing that.
Okay, that's a good question. I mean, question 2, yes, not anything we have anything to do with.
Right.
It's just more of,
Doesn't affect us, but,
yeah,
Not really, but it's a pretty sizable chunk. That was my
Yeah.
question.
yeah,
$90,000.
yeah. I
Just
think it's always good.
interesting to find out
It's interesting to find out.
how they decide.
Yeah,
Hope one person isn't just determining what books to buy.
yeah.
Do we have a question on how things are going with the the after-school stuff. I think it's all worked out.
After reading the narrative, it sounded like they had it
I
taken
didn't
care
go
of.
into-
Yeah, because they mentioned they had
They're okay.
volunteers
Mhm.
and staff, so it seems like that's working okay.
Wasn't, maintenance, that was a question I had. They're not included in the facility maintenance.
Yes, they are.
I think they're not included in the town.
Well, we pay for their inspections, we pay for everything. We pay for the people who do the annual maintenance on their HVAC. We pay for the inspection of the elevators.
Okay, that kind of maintenance is different than building maintenance. That's
Now
kind
the-
of an upkeep of elevators,
The
and
janitorial stuff, they're not included in.
that's my question.
The janitorial, they pay for their own
They pay for
janitorial.
their own.
Alice, you know, in the original questions
Mm-hmm.
on library, I'd like to see the second bullet. I'd like to have that further discussed. Have them come and maybe, discuss it with the library trustees.
Oh,
the fund-
oh,
the
yeah,
trust
yeah,
fund.
which was the same as, because I put that.
Oh,
question.
okay.
Yeah, I had that was the question about, that it's the $9,000 difference between the MAR and
So you're
the-
thinking they already, okay.
They got a little
'Cause I sort of
problem
read
on
that,
the MAR
they did.
too. The item number 6 in their narrative, the last page.
Yeah,
The number they're using for FY16
yeah,
differs from the one Lorraine's omnibus budget sheet that you passed out.
oh, does it really?
It's probably just a typo, but it says 553,239.
Yeah.
861. It's the exact same number.
What?
Now, look under FY16 currently.
Should they have 553?
There is no MAR on the,
Looks, it could be just a 3 instead of an 8, you mean? 553
Yeah.
versus 558.
oh, I see, I
Yeah.
get it.
Five, five,
Some
I
of those
get
are
it.
typo.
In the calculations, yeah,
One or the other is wrong.
yeah.
Does it total add, is it total add up though?
Unless that 5,000 is transferred in during fiscal
It was.
16
You know what it was?
on
remember?
top of the
That
553,
was it.
which is his calculation here.
That's the whole point. Because we asked them last year to transfer
transfer
5,000 in
5,000.
from the library
Right.
expendable trust funds to help fund their budget.
Maybe that's what this
That's-
asterisk
yeah.
means. It's just
That's
not
the
listed as
library
fiscal
state aid.
16.
No, this was, remember we discovered
Right.
the library trust fund that had been sitting there and they hadn't tapped it for
Hadn't tapped it
years.
for years.
And so we asked them,
State,
oh, it's from the state, that's where that comes from. So we asked
the
them to,
5,000 came from.
yeah, we asked them to put 5,000 in, so that, that's what that is. And so that 5,000.
The asterisk should just be specified as fiscal 16, I think, on her roll-up. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my guess.
yeah, so it's the correct number. Because the MARC calculation only comes from the raise and appropriate, so you have to
Right.
take the 5,000 out.
Right.
But good catch, so,
This was the question I wanted to bring up about, it's building maintenance. It's not the elevators and it's not janitorial, it's building maintenance. So far, they've had volunteers over the last 7 years cover the cost. But now they'd like to be included in the process of the building maintenance. If we are not getting a maintenance facilitator or maintenance manager, it's the library that doesn't have any building maintenance funds.
Well,
And their
they-
town building is the way they're looking at this.
yeah, well, I guess what all have to look at, but including the selectmen on this. I mean, they've got, the trustees have a chunk of change that they have already been using for maintenance. And so there's a large discussion to be had there as far, because there's a, you can't say there's no money.
They haven't,
It says right here, they listed it out. They paid $10,000 to maintain the landscape. They paid $10,000 to do volunteers hall ceiling repair and acoustic paneling. They paid $2,000 to install stage lights. So they've done a lot of maintenance out of that fund. So it's a good point to bring up, especially if they want to be included in a maintenance fund for municipal buildings, well then, perhaps they can contribute some of their funds toward
maintenance
that.
fund of municipal buildings, and yes, they do. How do we get to that point to have a discussion in their budget? We don't, because it's not really in the budget. So that might be a different kind of discussion.
Yeah, I think that's a discussion around the entire maintenance fund.
And you're part of that smaller group that is looking at
No,
buildings.
actually,
At buildings?
that was at the long-term, that was just talking about the capital.
Yeah, that's not maintenance.
Yeah, that was just the
That's not
yeah,
maintenance.
that wasn't maintenance. That'll be a discussion that, I think we can.
But that's one of our questions.
That's one of our questions. We can
75,000.
start with the selectmen, like how did you get to this number? But I think we
Right.
do have to, when the library is in, that's a question that we should talk with them about.
Maybe could we pull together selectmen and library so that, no, because
No.
we don't really talk to the
No.
selectmen.
We're talking about maintenance of buildings. Except for the library, the buildings are under the control of the selectmen, basically, but the library is not.
Correct.
And
Schools.
Nor the
schools are not,
Yeah.
no.
And the schools would not be part of that
Nor the
75,000.
cemetery, nor the cemetery buildings.
Yeah,
But what I was thinking about here is that the library is still a town building, correct?
Municipal buildings.
Yeah,
They lease it for 99 years.
they lease it, okay. So then the question that becomes is, if we're going to have, and goes back to the sort of thing that I think Leo was addressing, if we're going to have a maintenance budget for town buildings, then it would also be necessary to distinguish between what is repair and maintenance and what is enhancement.
yes, that's,
It's
yes,
true,
that is
because
true.
ceilings could be enhancement.
Ceiling repair sounds awful like maintenance, but
Well, it could be either, it could be
well, if it says
sound
repair, it's repair.
enhancement. Yeah.
But on the other hand, stage light installation
Could be
sounds
something
like,
brand new.
sounds like an
Enhancement.
enhancement, and I
Yeah.
think that,
Yeah,
I think that what we would need to do before we get into this is ask them to define and distinguish.
yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, and so the buildings that are not included, even though they're municipal buildings, schools are municipal buildings, right?
They're not covered under this.
They've got their
They
own
aren't.
contract.
Well, they have their own.
They have
but-
their own.
And we're saying the library, you're saying they have their own, but they're saying they don't, they want to be included.
Well, I think Board of Selectmen just need to define what
Okay,
they're
they need to
considering
go to
that
Board of
75
Selectmen.
is,
Yeah,
They need to go to board select.
yeah. Because that maintenance fund that's an initiative the Board of Selectmen has put forward. And what they've asked us to do is to, ask all our good questions, which is basically a vet the amount, all that kind of stuff, and identify a funding source. If we just think it's a good idea. And if we think the timing's not right, or if there's any other thing that we don't agree with, or want to make suggestions, that's
Well,
what we do.
Bruce's suggestion about enhancement versus,
Yeah.
that you could take to board of selectmen.
Well, and I think when we have that discussion, there's a lot of other just operational issues as who's gonna monitor this, what's the plan, is it out there, is there a schedule? The same thing we did with Park and Rec, when they asked for money for maintenance, and we said, but where's your field schedules, where's your, don't
That
get
fell on deaf ears, apparently.
Because they went ahead.
We haven't got to them yet, yeah.
They're next.
They went ahead and
Okay.
did field work.
Park and Rec.
we are.
Speaking of them,
Dun, 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 dun.
You know that.
No narrative.
yeah.
Sorry, and some of these are my questions. You can tell I was on the last one that night.
The Patriots were losing bigger by
And they
that
were.
point.
I had to watch that.
35 to 14 at that point.
I had to watch that on the blog because we didn't have access to the game, and I'm just like watching my phone going,
Can't believe
gotta
it.
be kidding me. It's like, it was horrible.
Bad dream.
It was. I kept waiting for it to refresh, hoping something good would come up.
I think that was their worst game in a couple of decades.
Yep, it was.
It was.
It was unbelievable.
Kansas City game last year was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad too.
Well, yeah, but 35 unanswered points and on the way they gave them up,
Ugh. It was just,
They're all weird.
Punts and punt returns for touchdowns. It was
100-yard
just
punt
disaster.
return, I mean, a 100-yard interception return, come on.
yeah.
and an 82-yard punt
Punt
return.
return.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about football,
Exactly.
guys.
Now, what, the 20% beach expense? Oh, that's expenses.
A lot of this is about the beach
Yes.
director.
We had a narrative.
Well, we didn't have a narrative. It
Yeah.
just really
They
made
just
a
need
lot
to-
of.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, why the 27% increase for beach director position? And then, why is no salary requested for the beach director?
Yeah.
There's no
So-
salary. There's
So
an
if there was no salary
expense.
requested, how did you get a 27% increase for beach director position?
It's all over the map, without any understanding.
Doesn't make sense.
And then this Commons in school, it jumped up and they have a plan in place with HAA. What
Yeah,
is
it's
the
like,
plan?
what plan, exactly?
Be nice to know.
What's the
Pretty
plan for
significant
this
increase.
year? I mean, there is, yeah, because we already gave them, they've got the 31
Ooh, that's right.
for this year, remember?
It was an incremental 10,000.
Yeah. And we told, and we
As a test.
specifically said that you have to have a whole
To
field
report back
plan
to
and
us how it
report
went.
back to us, so that's just the request, report back to us.
No, there, in here is, there's the blank spot around the,
Yeah, there is a blank
Salary,
in
yeah.
FY '17,
Yeah,
but yet there's a,
Yeah,
yet
yeah.
there's a change.
yeah.
But it's
it
blank.
makes, none of it makes quite sense.
So I guess you'll be having them in.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
it's not even,
Who has Park and Rec?
I should bring that
Is
sheet.
it Rudy? Oh, it must be Rudy.
It's rude.
Yeah, I think. Rudy. Oh.
Well, at least their department head chairman didn't sign it. Didn't even
No,
put a name in it.
Steve put
Yeah,
it,
I was called out.
Steve, I understand, not Steve, guy that put it together apparently didn't run it past the whole
No.
board.
Oh,
So
really?
on the last one, which
Yeah.
is historical, there are those two questions that follow the ambulance questions that need to be added to
Well, one's
this.
just a comment. It
Yeah, I
was
know.
more just me being,
You being you.
yeah. It would have been nice to.
Can
But if you don't
CPC
know-
funds,
I get it.
can CPC funds be
Like to
used for
clear.
your request for
You
partaking.
did your questions.
wow.
For which specific request? Oh, just for the budget increase? I don't know. there's a
Yeah, just,
question.
I mean, I think we need to go through each of those individual things anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we really need to have Joe.
Oh, I see, because they're historical.
historical.
Yeah,
And
I
there's
didn't
funds
know.
out of, yeah, that's,
Need
okay.
every-
That's a good question.
Yep.
I just wasn't quite sure what.
It's our job to.
All right,
Get
and
every-
scanners, yeah, do they have some? Purchase one. Good question. Oh, these last two questions were mine. I literally took
Yeah.
Yeah,
10
that's good.
minutes.
That's good.
I hate to admit it, I was just, but, because I mean, Dropbox you can get for free, I
Right,
know
yeah,
that.
that was
But then,
gonna be mine.
you know, so I was like, why are you paying for Dropbox?
Right.
And then they mentioned Office 365, so I thought, you know what, I mean, I used Office 365, but I never paid for it. So I just went on the Office 365 website
Yep.
and found out that if you get Office 365 for home, 5 users, it's $100 a year.
Yeah.
And they have it in for 1,000,
Yeah, no, and I just think.
Great.
you know, and they have 600 for Dropbox, which
Well,
it just
also-
doesn't make sense.
And also, do you guys, so how, does Town Hall have scanners? How many, like, is it,
scanners are becoming
We
obsolete
have-
too. We have a scanner they can have.
Our copy machine
It's a scanner.
is a
Of course.
high-speed scanner.
Of course.
It drops it into a file, then we
Right.
go into the
Oh, yeah, that goes direct to
Scan
email.
function, right.
Yeah,
I
scan
can
to
scan
email,
on my
it's
correct.
great.
I mean, there's an app for scanning, it's
There's an app for
amazing.
that.
It's amazing. But-
Oh, that'll do it straight to a PDF?
Yes, it's
All right, tell me the app.
What is the
because-
app?
Is the
I
can-
want to
Isn't that
know
amazing?
too.
Yeah, tell me afterwards, I want that.
Yeah, I want that too.
So I think, that's why I said scanners are gonna become obsolete. I mean, they're just, we never use ours anymore at home.
Because I would take pictures, but then it's a photo, and I want it,
No,
to
you can
to get it
actually
to a
have-
PDF.
There you go.
Hey, all
Well-
right,
Well, they need to know too.
yes.
Thank you.
Well, and then
They're
I,
doing all these expensive, it's brand new.
yeah.
It's all brand new.
Well, and they told us, they said, we want to, get up to be able to do things and be able to maintain our work in a central location. So all that makes perfect sense. We just need to talk with them about alternative ways of doing
Pricing
that.
out this stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Stuff that I really scan, that's what I want.
All right, so questions that we have to develop for
All the rest of
the
it.
next one.
Yeah.
Um,
On that one.
When we get the schools, well, I'll get back to that in a minute. So we have to do DPW pond cemeteries.
We have nothing for cemeteries.
Oh, and I think Lorraine said if we don't get something, she's just gonna, like last year, and level fund it.
Well,
Zero
last
them
year,
out?
Wait, I'm sorry, who were you talking about?
Cemeteries.
Cemetery.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
I
Ag
think we
Commission.
need
No.
some
My ears
file-
went-
No,
file
cemeteries.
cabinets. We know they need file cabinets, don't we? Don't they ask for file cabinets every year?
It's Board of Health.
Oh, is it for?
Yeah. No, I said, Lorraine said if we didn't get anything from cemeteries, she was just gonna
Level funding,
level fund them.
right.
Same with that, we don't have anything.
Yeah, same with that.
Yes.
Same price for dirt.
It's easier me doing it this way than you guys getting confused. Take it to the house.
Oh. Okay, so we have board.
Take it out.
Yep. Bruce?
Oh.
She got
Go.
one.
Already has hers. Those are the budgets for Board of Health. Put in your.
All right.
Okay.
Well, it looks like we had no questions for Council on Aging, because everybody reviewed it.
No questions.
No
No
questions. Okay.
They
I
sailed
didn't
through.
review it, but that's okay. It's, if
Yeah, I
everyone
didn't-
else
I didn't have
reviewed
any
it.
questions.
There were none?
Yeah, I didn't have any questions.
Well,
Well
then
done.
we should say a good job,
Yeah.
because she put a lot of time into
We
it.
should still have her come in though, right?
Yeah, we should.
Kidding. I am
she
joking.
was gonna say
I'm
Tim.
joking. I'm joking. Sorry.
Just to tell her, well done.
When she comes in, that costs money on the budget, doesn't it?
Yeah.
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 All right.
Not just travel, it's
so-
ours.
So, again, if you review those budgets that you didn't review and get questions for tonight, review all the others and get me the questions next week,
For next Wednesday.
prior to next
Yeah,
Wednesday.
I mean, I said for next, so we can discuss
Yes.
them.
I will not be here next week. Lorraine will be here,
Okay.
so you'll have someone who's nicer than me here.
Mhm.
And you will,
Or prettier at least.
right,
Aw.
that's true. I'll admit to that. And she will have the questions with her, just like I did tonight.
Okay. So we should get those to you on Monday.
When are we expecting answers, by the by?
Well, I need, in order to send these out, if Laura has questions, I need them by the end of the day tomorrow,
I can do that, I'll just,
because then I have to put them in, because I want to get the questions you did today
Out.
out to
Yeah.
the departments, so they can start working on them, and we want them, I want them back by the following Friday. That way, you can have everything, all the answers to all your questions this week and next week before Christmas.
Wow.
What a
And
Christmas
what
present.
Oh,
Well, no, next week, you're gonna have to start scheduling departments
yeah.
for January.
I can't believe it.
what about school? When are we
School
expecting?
budget's
So-
coming in next
Yeah,
Wednesday,
so school
So we're
budget,
doing all at number 4 and,
all the rest of them.
Yes, all in number
so,
4.
so school budget, because I met with Susan Mary, because she wanted to give me a preview of where they had gotten to, because originally it started out at a 3.5% increase, which
Yep.
she said that was, that wasn't gonna work at all, so they went back. It is still a 2.7% increase. And they have not figured out the user fee part. And so she said, what do you think, the chances are on the user fee parts, given this budget? And I said, well, first of all, I said, anything over, I said, we have 2.5%. We have Prop 2.5. I said, so anything over 2.5%, I said, you're gonna have a super hard time. Because I said, you're sitting at 2.7. So you really have to get to, we'd like everything to be back at under, at 2.5 or under. So that's one issue. And I said on the user fees, in the past, I said I hadn't talked with you guys, but I said in the past, anytime there is something new, this is something new, of this magnitude, because you're talking $120,000, that is never added in as a wish list item. So I said that is always put out as a separate article. So I'm assuming that's what we would, continue to do. That's what we always do. So, and it needs to be prioritized, because part of the school committee is very much in favor of the sports fees. Another part of the school committee is very much in favor of, I think it's about 60,000 or so for the transportation, for the bus. So I said, you guys figure out the priorities. I said, or if you want to put them all out for, which I would not recommend, but I said, but we're going to look at the whole budget. And I said, at that point, when I met with her, I hadn't even gotten the full budget. And I just did it very quickly. If you put a 2.7% increase with the schools into the budget, there's not wiggle
There's no
room.
money.
There's no money. So,
Right, because that's.
Yeah, it just-
That's a big chunk of the budget.
yeah, exactly.
Isn't it 70%?
It's actually lower than that. It's like 65 or something. Yeah. It depends on what you count. But anyway, and that's if you assume that everything in here, that was in here stays, which, it may not. But that we haven't even gotten into other articles, other warrant articles, so. And obviously in Lorraine, we just are still getting stuff, so she hasn't put together a recap or anything, so I still don't know what wiggle room, if any, is for any new stuff. But that's where schools are. And they meet on December
Monday,
14th.
coming
14th,
Monday.
yeah, the 14th.
Approve the budget, and then you'll get the budget
Yeah.
announced.
And the light's been on in the Brownfield house pretty late.
Yeah.
It was
And that's.
So when do we plan to go through, if we do get the school budget at our meeting on the,
The
16th?
16th.
When do we go through that? Are we gonna have another meeting before Christmas, or wait till the first week in January?
No, 'cause
No,
No, okay.
no.
So we
Well,
review
there's
it, we review it
time,
the last
Tim.
half of December, and then
This
we'll
is
do
fun.
that.
This-
First
a
meeting
lot
in
of
January.
We'll be leaving Wednesday night.
I'm only kidding.
I'm here.
It's around.
Hey, I'm here right through. I have nowhere to go but here.
Well,
And then there's the 30th.
26th, the Saturday is right after Christmas.
I'll be
That'll
back
be
good.
You're such a newbie, no.
Well, there's
Yeah,
no
New
school
Year's
Christmas
plans?
Eve.
So we're meeting next on the 6th?
16th.
16th.
You see why I added this meeting? So I was
Huh?
like,
The
just
16th, we're
get
not
it
meeting
done.
on the 6th, we're meeting on the 16th.
16th of
16th.
December.
Oh.
Next week.
Yeah.
I was looking at,
If you want an extra meeting, the place to put it is, to keep things going, is December 30th.
No, we don't want to.
God,
No, well,
I'm
we're
with
we're
you.
way ahead of the
We'll have a
schedule from
small-
last year already,
we'll have a
Yeah.
small group.
Yeah.
Yes.
which suggests that we may be able to eliminate a fair number of those Saturday meetings.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
of-
Which that was the
Right.
whole goal,
We
because,
don't know what
because
the Warren scene's gonna look like.
yeah, because I'm out of town again for 2 weeks in January, so I know. See what happens when I stop working full-time? It's like I can go places.
Have a life.
I can have a life.
Where are you going?
Back to Mexico, to
Oh,
our place down there,
nice.
our little timeshare place.
So, I'm sorry, the 6th of January, is that our next?
Yes.
Next
Yes.
scheduled meeting.
After the 6th.
After next week's
Wednesday.
meeting.
Okay,
Yes.
got it.
Yeah.
You have 2 weeks off.
So the 6th of January is when we'll focus on
No,
the
that's
school
3
budget.
weeks off.
3 weeks.
That's what I'm
Well, you have
saying.
2 weeks with no meetings.
Oh,
Christmas week and the week after.
oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
That's for good behavior.
And then we'll figure out from the 6th what we're doing. The rest, or we just want to block in
Yeah.
every
You
Wednesday?
don't want to start December, or rather January 2?
Well, there's
Oh.
January 2. No, I don't think people would like to.
But
I
should
mean, we
try-
actually, when it was like January 3rd on a Saturday, and Pat, we have started on that day, but,
Your schedule right now is going to be that Wednesday, January 5th?
Sixth.
yeah.
6th.
And we could meet January 9th. I'll just wait to leave till the 10th. So we could,
Let's set it up now.
so we could
because-
meet the 9th.
So next week, you'll be scheduling departments, you'll get the school budget, so I would imagine by the 6th, you will have reviewed the school budget individually,
Yep.
and then bring all your questions together.
Yep.
Correct?
And we usually have them in on
Usually you do them on a Saturday.
yeah, so we could do them the 9th. We could do them right away, potentially.
Well, if they have time to answer questions, it's
Right.
their
If we're going to have to
break.
answer questions, we
It's
need
their
to.
break,
Oh, that's
too.
true.
Yeah, we're only getting.
Well, we might want to, maybe we want DPW one of them.
Yeah, well, we can figure that out next
Yeah, we'll
week.
figure
We don't
that
have
out
to do
next
that.
week.
Yeah, we don't have to do
Turn
that
it
now,
around,
but. Yeah, we may be able, we might want to, I can check with them also on their schedule of when they're meeting, because if they're meeting sometime during that time frame, I have no idea, after the 14th, when they're going to meet again.
Their first meeting normally would be scheduled on Monday, the 11th.
January?
January?
Yes. They
Ooh.
meet second and fourth Mondays.
Oh, because then they would skip the 28th of December. Right, I mean, that's what I'm saying, obviously, so, yeah, okay. Well, it's something to think about, since we're reviewing all that, it might be to get our questions for them together virtually and get it over to them, so that they would have them to discuss
On the meeting.
at their meeting on the, on,
On January
11th.
11th. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
month, yeah.
All you have to do again is get the questions to me, and I can compile them and ship them out to you people.
And we'll
as
have
well
that by
as the
next
school
week,
committee.
you said.
They're gonna have their budget next Wednesday.
yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna approve their budget Monday. Any last minute changes or anything else will be added to the books that they have, and you'll be get those on Wednesday.
But you said the articles were due before we
The
can
14th
talk.
the 14th of January.
Okay, so they're meeting on the 11th. I don't know, does that mean we have, they'll have all their articles and then we go through the review of their articles on the 14th?
Once we get them, then you guys will get the articles, and you'll pick a meeting to discuss the articles, just like you have.
Right,
It's
we
like
don't
we
do
always-
that
It
right
doesn't-
away.
Yeah, we haven't usually done those right away, partly because they,
They're early this year.
well, no, that's always the deadline, it's just that people miss it
Stress.
consistently. Which means we don't get everything until the end of January, which is just,
Which we're
Frustrating.
trying to make sure it
Yeah.
comes in and move this along.
And you said everyone did receive a letter today, or?
Julie sent
I-
out an
I-
email
Let it
to
come out
yeah,
everybody
Julie,
today,
Julie sent it out.
Okay,
Yep.
giving them the important dates that are coming up.
okay.
And actually, I think this is a second reminder. I think there was
There was an earlier one.
there was an earlier one too.
Yes.
Did anyone, I haven't done this yet, but cross-check the trust money with the budgets?
I imagine that's what you'll do during your discussion with the
Yeah.
departments.
Speaking of that, on the, do we know which of the trusts are being allocated to which of the departments for use? Are you,
If they have it in their budget, it would be what the offset is down below.
yeah. Oh, you're, are
If
you,
they
is
don't
your,
have-
oh,
And
yeah.
if they don't have an offset, then
You should ask.
you can ask.
I haven't done it, but
Well, because this was partly with the whole exercise of going through all the trusts to see which ones could be, that will clear them out and use them in this year's operating budget. Some of the trusts is not particularly evident who would use, like, who would use them or who would have rights to use them. Has that identification been done
Yeah,
on the spreadsheet that you gave us?
it does, yeah.
We'll just go with that, okay. And if we have questions, or if it's not apparent, we'll just ask. And then you separately sent all of that to each budget holder?
Every department head has it, as well as cemetery.
Okay,
Have somebody, yeah.
okay.
I had a wonderful conversation with Jack today.
About his trust money and
Okay.
expenditures, huh?
Okay.
Sean, you'll try to get one from them?
Yeah,
So the ones that,
Yeah, I got it from Board of Health.
I'll call him tomorrow.
Do you know Jack?
No.
so the only ones,
Even you. So,
all right, so we have to review DPW, Pond, Board of Health. We got 3 budgets to get
whatever other
questions.
ones you didn't do. yeah.
That was it, cemeteries.
Yeah.
And so those are the only ones.
Okay.
Okay?
Hey Laura, you're gonna give me your questions?
I got it
Tomorrow?
marked out, yes, I did.
Okay.
I'll try to get it to you before today.
Bruce, you don't have any questions?
I have one or two.
Get them in.
And
I would get them in.
Did we ever figure out who wrote up the historical commission? Probably Joe Terry.
Joe did.
Yeah.
Joe Terry wrote it up.
One of them I can tell you right now, but I'll get it in writing as well. And that is, given that you're upping the electricity rates for other areas, why isn't the street lighting going up?
Good question.
All right. Done with that. Town administrator.
Town administrator doesn't have much as the town administrator. I do have stuff as Lorraine. But I'll give you the town administrator stuff first. Each one, you can take one of these. This is the latest governor's proposal. He calls it an act to modernize municipal finance and government. And these are
Oh,
a list of
Modernized.
changes that he would like,
wow.
that he is proposing and putting forward. And they go everywhere from procurement to OPEB to you name it.
So this is right now what, just in proposal
This is
stage?
just his, he put it out this week.
Okay,
There was a big press hoopla at the State House regarding this. And this is the document.
Go through it.
I went through some of it. I haven't taken the time to go through all of it.
Would you suggest we take the time to go through it? What?
Well, there's nothing, I mean, it's more information for you than anything else. Some of the stuff will possibly change. Some of the stuff he won't get through, some of the stuff he will get through. Some of it's not bad. Others, if you know the lay of the land, you'll know that it won't go anywhere.
Section also makes clear that OPEB fund.
so the process on this is it goes.
He's
pres-
proposing these changes, it now goes to the legislature.
And the
Goes through the
legislature,
process.
okay, the legislature will look at the whole act, and then Hartsville will go
Strike out
out
two-thirds
to-
of it.
out to committees and. Right,
So, that's that. I have from Lorraine, there is this this is the catch basin cleaning analysis.
I had asked her to print that.
Yes, and here it is, and it says catch basin as opposed to street sweeper.
Correct.
So just take a copy and pass it around.
I noticed that with DPW, thank you. It's a clarification, right?
And where's
Heidi?
what extra?
Good.
No, this is mine.
Confused.
Okay.
I passed them
Oh,
around, there should have
Here you
been plenty of them.
Laura gave it away to
No, I handed it to
the, no,
you.
you gave one to John.
Yeah, but I handed
This is actually,
you
this is
one.
online, so
That's fine.
You needed one?
No, I was gonna take it for
For
Rudy.
Rudy.
Oh, for Rudy, okay. Okay. Okay, and that's for Rudy? Okay, we'll leave it there. Yeah. Oops. Oops.
So, do you have anything else from
Yep.
Lorraine?
I do.
Well, do you wanna cover this in liaisons?
Yeah, I can do it in liaisons, that's
Okay, so hang on to the catch basin because Heidi's got more information on that.
It's huge. Yeah,
What?
difference.
Yeah.
Look at that big smile. What's coming your way is the free,
Steve,
is
take one, pass it that way.
Oh,
Take one and pass it that way.
Yeah. John, come pick this one up. Okay,
Oh, you were W.
so I get this email from Tim today saying, all right, so one of the heads of all, the four of us, the heads of all the boards, I want to come and talk about the free cash. So I'm thinking, we've never talked about free cash before. That
Yes, we
means,
have.
oh, well, at least since
Before you got on the
so it
board.
was before me. So that means it's either really bad and that it's very tiny, or it's really good.
It is 1.36 million.
unbelievable. Is
Yeah.
that bigger than a few years ago?
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
biggest ever.
1.2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is pretty big.
yeah. So,
Half a million of it comes from the tax title work and the collection of back taxes last year
Wow.
by the treasurer collector,
Who's no longer with us.
who's no longer here.
Could it be
For the
John?
first time, money was put into, property was put into tax title. So I'm gonna explain how this works. Out of the 500,000, there was collections, people did not want to see their names in the newspaper. So they came in and paid. So we got that money, but there was also interest and fines and penalties associated with that dollar amount. That's in local receipts. That increased our local receipts by about $150,000. Okay? So the other portion of it, when you take property and you move it from the books from a receivable as an outstanding amount and you put it into tax title, you take it off of your books and it does not hit your free cash anymore. It goes into another ledger account where you now have a tax lien. You're perfecting a tax lien against the property. And so instead of it being in, until that piece is done, you're not guaranteed getting the money and it hits your free cash number. So by moving the money out of the receivables to a new receivable tax title, which is a secured tax title, what happens is it frees up money in your free cash. So combined, that was about $500,000. Okay? The collection of the taxes themselves, as well as moving money into tax title.
does everyone get that?
Not
Nope.
really.
Okay, because I know, because it took us a
Took
while.
us a while.
Took us a while.
It's 150,000, that is the
That's-
penalties
That's
and
local,
local
yeah.
receipts.
That's in
And is
local
that
receipts.
part of
We're
the
gonna talk
$500,000?
about
That's
local receipts.
separate.
We're gonna
Okay,
talk
that's
about
separate.
local receipts after we go
Okay.
through piece
Yeah.
by piece.
Sorry,
So-
okay, that's
So if you
separate.
picture the calculations that go for free cash, you start with the amount in the general fund, and then you have to subtract off any basically it's receivables that you, it's like bad debt. You're not gonna be able to collect it, because that's sort of the
Then when you move it
equivalent.
into the tax lien, it suddenly
Yeah,
becomes
yeah,
collectible.
exactly. And so that's the part that Tim was talking about. We had to keep subtracting off this big chunk of money, and then all the extra stuff that came in and money that wasn't spent got collected, or, overpayments by, or over budget payments by the state, et cetera. All that filters down, then you end up with your free cash.
Now, what happens, what's the next step? So we've got a chunk of properties that we now have tax lien on.
Some of
Now
them,
what happens?
Some of them
we
paid.
will go through the properties. Some of them, we will perfect the lien and we will take them and foreclose on them because they're worth doing. However, there are those that are in tax title. They now go from 14% to 16% interest, by the way. They also now have to pay the fees for going into tax title. That was the advertising their names. All those get associated with each one of those that is outstanding. And then there are those that we won't go after. There are those that are either wetlands or their parcels too small, but we now have a lien on that.
So you own them?
Right.
You know,
Well, we don't own them, it's
We
just
don't
there's a
own 'em.
lien, but so if they
Have a lien, so if they
ever
ever do
are
get
sold,
sold.
they can't, yeah.
we
you
get
have to
that, we
pay
get
off the
that out,
lien first.
exactly,
Okay.
before you can sell
So-
it. Yeah.
So we will look at the properties and we will go after those that are worth going after and then turn around and sell them to get the money.
So, there's that part. Then, on to
To
local receipts.
local receipts, there was approximately $400,000 in local receipts above and beyond what we had estimated local receipts to be. A good portion of it came in through you people buying new cars.
Right, so that was about 100.
Excess.
It's about, it's like 100,000.
It was 100,
400 though, more
100.
than what we thought?
yeah, it was 100,000 in excise alone that came in.
Wow.
Plus the
That's a good price.
$150,000 in those fees and fines.
That he
That you just said the
previously
That I
penalties,
previously
I got
said,
that,
so-
Exactly, yeah.
And then the other 200 or so, 150, 200 or so was in different areas.
Different, licenses. fee.
accounts,
Yeah,
right.
Lorraine said it was like smaller stuff that was,
Like
Added up.
overdue stuff.
Does that have anything to do with this free cash? Doesn't do it?
Yeah. About it.
oh,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well,
yes. Yeah, so the 500,000
Oh.
goes into the free cash, that 400,
Yeah.
and I think Lorraine said it was 426,000 above budget.
Right.
That also, so there's 926,000 of this.
So that's
Money.
accounted, okay.
Yep, and then the remainder of it is money that was closed out by departments,
Okay.
Okay,
which is right in the span that we normally run
Yeah.
Okay.
to close out.
Okay.
so we've now got this 1,003,000 and a third,
1.36 million.
and what is that? Is that money that theoretically we could include in next year's budget and not raise the tax rate, or what is it?
So that's a great lead-in question.
And if I could answer that,
Yeah.
we did that in 2007. There was free cash in 2007, and there was approximately $200,000, or $250,000 of it was put into the budget and then when we went to do the budget the following year, we had a large override that went in. It was a general override that went in that failed. But we then made the argument that we needed the free cash money that you spent last year for that budget. That was actually built into the budget. And we needed to do a general override for $200,000 to make up for what we used in free cash. So this is a perfect example why we never use free
not.
cash for ongoing recurring budgetary items.
So what does it get used for?
So
Goes
normally
to-
the process is, you take there's the free cash amount, there's votes at the town meeting. And the policy, it's just the policy. The first thing is it goes, if our stabilization fund needs to be topped up, that's where it goes. If that's all set, you're fine. If the reserve fund, if there's any other items.
This goes to warrant articles of various sorts?
No. So
Hold on.
just hold on, just follow me if you.
Okay.
So the first thing is, let's say there's 500,000 in free cash. Do we need to put any into stabilization fund? That's the first thing. No, we don't. So then the next place is there anything else of past due bills that came up, odd things that came up? And occasionally at town meetings, there's been, 10,000 or 15,000 that we've had to carve out of free cash and just clear those bills out. The last part of it then goes over to the capital fund. This is the funding for the capital fund. Okay? So, because this number was so large, Tim asked head of capital, board of selectmen, schools, myself, all four of us.
I had the chairs of the school committee.
To all the chairs here today, to talk about it, to figure out, let's put a plan together to see what makes sense, or a proposal as to how to use this. And what we came up with as our proposal, to get feedback from all of the boards, and then we'll figure it out, was that we wanted, a lot of this is one time only. Obviously, that's not gonna be repeated. We wanted to have as big an impact as possible on reducing the tax rate, because this is money that was from previous taxpayers, from money that wasn't spent. It's all money that's been raised. So what we decided, the biggest needs were, there are all these bans and debt costs that we talked about earlier that have been going up. We have a whole series of bans that we have continued to pay. And some of them, it's a nightmare to track through finance, and the fees every year, which I didn't realize, every year you have to, it's additional fees. I thought it was a one-time fee, and because we've accumulated them, that's why those fees are going up. So we want to clear those out. So Lorraine's going to figure out exactly how much all that is and come up with that number. So that's pot number one. Pot number two, we want to take a chunk of this, a decent-sized chunk, and apply it toward the town hall debt. Because we asked Lorraine, we said, we'd like to reduce debt. I mean, obviously, anything we put into capital, we can pay out of it and not raise debt, but we'd like to reduce debt that we know is on the books. And she said the best place is debt that has not actually been bonded yet, because then you can just reduce it right from the very beginning. And that's the town hall. So that will be a nice chunk of, a portion of this will be a nice chunk of change to reduce that.
Which will
About the
say,
Hildreth House.
That, we can't do it because it's not even in it's
Hasn't even
in,
been approved.
it hasn't even been, yeah.
Okay.
well, it
No,
has
no,
been
it has been
approved.
approved, but it's in,
It is nowhere near, because the money hasn't been spent yet.
yeah,
It's in a ban
it's in a ban.
right now, and it will be in a ban until the project's done. The project's gonna be done, according to the schedule I have right now, November of next year, which means after that, it will then be put into a borrowing.
Right.
So it wouldn't be that, it would then, once it's, before we do the borrowing at that point in time, you would then be looking at, it's going to be around this same time next year that you'll be having that same discussion and what to do with, if we have free cash next year.
Yeah, yeah,
And if you look at what we get back from departments at the end of the year, it's somewhere between 400 to 600,000, then you'll be able to have that discussion then.
Okay, so if I understand it correctly, what this would do after clearing out those bans would be to reduce the amount that we have to borrow
exactly,
town hall.
for town hall.
town hall, which
Right.
would then reduce all sorts of things, including the expenses of the borrowing itself.
Yep, and the ongoing interest, what,
And the ongoing interest.
obviously.
Ongoing-
But also, they charge us a percentage
Yep.
of the fee to place the thing.
They do, they do.
And it,
That'd have a big impact.
Yeah.
and it will, and
Yes.
and it will stop your, because once it is fully borrowed, then you start paying it back.
Yeah,
So what it will do is in FY17, the amount that you're going to have to raise because this is all exempt funding.
Yeah.
We're paying it off ahead of time, you're gonna reduce your tax increase for next year.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because as, if it takes out, 50,000 or 60,000, or however much it is, it takes out 50,000 out
Yep,
of
that's
each
great.
year. That literally drops the tax rate. The third bucket is some chunk to go into the OPEB fund for the unfunded liability. We are already collecting money from the trust to go, and we're hopeful that could be 250,000, hopefully, that could go into it. So, even if we can top that up by another 150, so that there's a 400,000, we didn't discuss final numbers, but just some amount to put in there.
Next
To be
summer is when
determined.
we do the next audit, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Next July 1 is the
The date for
of
the actuarial.
actuary.
And then the
So who's
remainder,
scrubbing the trust to figure out? So the
that's-
selectmen doing that?
That's
No,
our responsibility.
that's why we're responsible
Okay.
for that, and that's where I think, Tim, I'll have to have a meeting with you, because I'm not totally confident that I am comfortable with exactly
I
which
can-
of those
And
I have
trusts.
no problem sitting down with you.
Yeah, so that,
Mexico?
yeah.
I have no problem.
As it happens,
Cancel the meeting now.
we have an extra bedroom this time, you'd have your.
I could get approval from the board for out-of-state travel.
Out of the country.
Out of country.
Find some CE class down there. Professional development.
No, just in tying
More than
which,
happy to.
which trusts have been determined to be available, because I know there is some legal stuff, all that kind of stuff,
I can go over
before we dive into that. So that's the really good news on this. And then in addition, did we tell you, or did someone tell you while I was gone, what CPC was doing with their funds for the town hall?
yeah, they came.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did, okay.
CPA.
Dee Dee and
Oh, that's
John.
right, because that was the first time, CPA, sorry, yeah, so he did that,
Dee Dee and John Kennedy.
yeah. So just as an example, just so you can see what the impact of this would be, and again, these are not final numbers or anything, just round numbers. So they're gonna put 300,000 up front, so they're gonna reduce the debt by 300,000. If we reduce the debt by a further 700,000, it gets to Tim's round number that I can work with in my head. If every $1 million that you reduce, that's $1 off the tax rate, that the tax rate will not go up because it was taken off the table. So that's the kind of impact that we're talking about.
Wow.
All right? Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, well-
Thank you, treasurer of last year.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll tell you, she did it all before she left too, and it was, she's the first treasurer collector since 2000, roughly 2000, 2001, who went through and put everything,
That's a
put what it
big-
could.
So
in
this
the
is
tax.
about
That is a
13
big
years
deal.
worth of stuff,
What
right?
percentage is this?
Oh, I'd have to go back and check the numbers. It was,
Well, see, and
you
what
should, it was, what's more interesting, and I can't use any names, was the number of people and who it was coming in to pay the bills, so they wouldn't get their name in the paper. Something about putting the names in that paper.
oh my gosh, of course, I thought that was a brilliant idea.
That's what you have to by law.
Oh, that's by
Oh,
law,
yes.
oh, I
Oh,
thought,
yeah.
oh, I thought it was
Oh, yeah.
just,
Send her a number and say, unless you pay, we're gonna
yeah,
put.
unless you pay by X
She,
date.
she had been working on it for months, and basically there were 2 or 3 letters that went out to each individual who was in that list. And the final letter was, if the money is not here by this day, you will be in next week's paper.
Roughly how many people were on that list that were back
Well, there were-
passes?
There were a number.
Lots?
There were,
Like
yeah.
hundreds?
No, there weren't hundreds. There were double digits and above 50.
Oh, my God.
Wow,
Wow.
So
wow.
is this something
But-
we'll do
but
every
it is-
year? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
But we no longer have a backlog.
It's real estate
Yeah.
taxes.
There is still a
Interesting.
backlog.
Real
but-
estate and personal property.
Yeah.
Not
But
15
probably,
years.
yeah,
That's
no,
all
exactly. And the reason why Lorraine said it's so difficult, it's a 3-year process to get this to happen. And what would happen is you'd start it, then a treasurer would leave, and then a new treasurer would come, and you'd have to start all over again.
Oh, okay.
There's a
So-
clock that goes along with the start of the process to when she ends it. So
Oh,
she
yeah.
did it.
And there are parts of it, like within a few days, you have to get some stuff done to make it happen, so, yeah, kudos.
So in other words,
Yeah.
the next time we could get something like this would be about 4 years from now or so?
No, actually, we're looking at, there are some towns who actually start the tax title process at the end of each fiscal year for the prior year. And
So
they-
as of July 1, if your taxes
Right.
aren't in, they
Aren't
start.
in, then they start the process and start sending you notices and everything else and get it in. Because once you get it, once it's advertised, and once you move it into tax title, you've then done part one, which is placed the lien and perfected a lien under the law on the property. So,
Okay.
Pretty good.
That was it, right?
But-
From-
every town, this town's no different. There are those people who habitually don't pay their taxes, or pay at the last second, one or the other. They'll let it go as long as they get to use the money, as opposed to giving it to us.
But there is a late fee,
Oh,
interest
there's a 14% fee.
What are
Oh,
they,
my.
Yeah.
it's the
I
economy,
was
what
gonna
are
say
they
that.
using?
Yeah,
that-
they're still losing
14%,
money.
No idea, unless they're buying real estate, I have no idea. You're right, now in tax title, it goes to 16%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I think a lot of times
Get away
people
with
think,
it.
I'm just gonna sell it, when I sell it, then I'll
Yeah.
just, and they don't
And that's
care.
what
And I-
happens.
And I think that's,
Yeah, people
yeah,
are gonna
yeah. All right, so that's it, right, from,
Yeah, that's it.
That's-
I think that was good
That was
enough.
it.
yeah.
Wow.
Where about the,
Liaisons.
where the FEMA money come from?
Oh, the FEMA money, we haven't even gotten yet. So
No,
that'll,
no.
yeah, so that'll come in
Still have
this
money
year.
coming in.
Well, we need it for all that damage last year.
Yeah, so that'll come in this year. So that's a source, because that's been the source of some of our nice, big, large,
Yeah, thought there'd
free
be
cash
some
in the
in
past.
this one.
There's no
Yeah,
FEMA
right.
money in this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we had it last year on snow and ice.
Yes, we
Right.
are.
That's right, because we had,
We do a bu-
we had
we do a budget.
Thanksgiving, we had Thanksgiving last year, that storm.
Mm-hmm.
We had the
Yeah.
October storm.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, the big October storm, yeah.
For you?
Sure, Rudy.
For you?
I know,
Absolutely.
I'm liking this El Nino thing. This is good.
Me too.
Yeah, the Midwest isn't
Last
liking
year,
it too
No,
much.
I know.
Mexico, I live.
One storm right after the
Yeah.
other, just like we did last year. It's okay, it's still early, folks.
Yeah.
It is, right, like last.
It'll be good all the way till February, and then,
Yeah, no, it's way
then we'll see.
See, you picked the wrong month to go to Mexico.
I know, but January's just so dark, so cold. Needed some sunshine. So Heidi, did you want
Yeah,
to?
so the
walk us
catch
through.
basin clean, I think you all
Mhm.
have this, it's a nice cost analysis. Rich had brought that to us, replacing, because we've had the catch basin truck all these years, and that's what he's used. Over the years, I think when he first came to us a few years ago, it was a pretty low cost, because I think at the time it was just to replace, I believe, was it the truck and keep the crane?
Correct, or vice versa.
Right, but since then, and it went up significantly, because now the crane is so antiquated, it really, he can't even get parts for it. So now all of a sudden it turned into a truck and crane, okay, the whole unit. So we said, well, what about contracting it out, like the street sweeping? So he came back with a cost analysis. And as you can see, there's a pretty big difference there. So Capital Committee wanted me to bring this to our committee, because now it's no longer a capital item, and to see if we can discuss it further with Rich and see if we can consider putting this into his budget.
So this would basically be an additional 13,000 a year
Yeah, now-
that he would need.
Right,
to
and I
do
would
this.
like us as a group to discuss this, because I did get together with Rich today to understand it a little bit more. And I have some, I'll be honest, I asked him some questions that I feel are still a little unanswered. Number one, I didn't realize, I asked him, what about the truck we have now? Are you gonna just sell it, get rid of it? And he's planning on keeping it and still using it. And I thought it was broken.
For plowing.
How
No,
old
It
is
says
still
for
using
spot
crane.
cleanings.
Yeah,
Spot cleanings
that's
will be
what he
handled
told
using
me
our
today.
25-year-old truck, as long as it lasts.
Okay, it's
So,
25
but he's saying
years
he's not
old.
gonna put money into it, okay?
That's what we did with the sweeper.
Where is it now? Oh my God.
Mothball.
Yeah.
Where? I didn't hear.
Can we sell
Well-
it for spare parts or something? I mean,
I saw it today, it's a relic, it really is.
yeah, I mean, can't we just get rid of it?
That's, I mean, again, that's my
Right now.
feeling, why are we, but again, Now, so I did ask him, so currently, with this truck, he's been able to do about only 20 to 30% cleaning of these catch basins a year. A lot of it's because of manpower, it takes a lot. So with privatizing this, this would include all of the catch basins. I asked him that question today, however, and he said he doesn't know how many we have. Because I said, is this gonna include all of them? And he said, I don't know. Because my question to him was, okay, say we have 1,000 catch basins in town. Some are gonna need to be cleaned every year.
Yeah, just
Because
because
they
of
get
the,
filled.
right, because of the type.
Others might only need it
Right.
every 2 years.
Right.
And I did some further research to see if there were any state mandates, like is it a requirement that you have to have this done every year? And the only thing I could find was as long as you have a management plan in place, that determines how often you have it done, and that was through the DEP to put that out. I asked him if he has any kind of management plan in place, and he doesn't. He really has never had, I just don't think he's had the time to
Do
do it.
whatever they can do.
Yeah, exactly, because at this point, you just, they're spending the
Yeah.
time trying to actually do it.
And this, what you pull out of the ground has to go to a landfill.
Right, now that cost is not included in this, because I did ask him that. The disposal cost, it will be, that's in his budget already, he said. Okay, so that's included, he's
Oh,
not gonna
because
be coming
he's-
to us and asking us for that
Because he's had to
disposal.
dispose of stuff
Correct.
already.
And he
But
said
this'll
it's
be more.
cheaper.
Oh, it's
to do-
cheaper?
Cheaper for him, his guy, for him to haul, for them
Okay.
to haul it away, than to have these guys take it and dispose of it.
Oh, okay.
So this would purely be to clean them out.
But that budget would nevertheless go up if they're doing every catch
Yeah,
basin.
because that would
Correct,
just
so
be
I
more.
guess my feeling was, do we, all of a sudden, is it necessary to do all of them every year, every single year? And I think without really having a handle on, like he even said, they've been doing the 20% of the worst ones. I mean, some that he just knows collect every year, and they need to go out and do those. So I really feel do we say do them all the first year and then manage it, see how it is after that, or do we, I don't know. But it's something that I think we need to discuss with him further on it.
However, my reaction here is that even if you don't have to do them all every year, all that does is increase the savings, right? Reading this thing?
Right.
Does he
Yeah.
feel pretty confident on that number, that $20 per, I mean, is that?
Yeah, I mean, this he actually got,
He
from the
already has
CV
a
cleaning
price from
services.
BMC.
I mean, I would think that also it's one of these things where the first year you do it, you say, okay, I'm gonna do 650, you see how much
Right.
you actually get done, and if you ask them, and I don't know if they'll do this, is to like keep a record of it, because as they're cleaning them, they'll say, this one was super clean. It
I don't
doesn't
know.
need to
I mean,
be.
they
So
might
wait,
also
wait,
just be
are these
clean.
catch basins like these little grates
Storm
that
drains.
are all
Yeah, the
around?
drains.
Okay.
Yeah, and they get,
And they
and they
lift it
get,
up and they have
Yeah.
to dig out,
Yeah.
okay. I'm
and they get
just-
silt, and they get leaves, and then they don't work, and then your road
They have what they
floods.
call a clamshell go down in, it goes
And it
down
just-
in, grabs, brings it up,
Okay.
drops it
Okay,
out.
just wanted to be sure, because I clear ours in the area, I mean
Yeah,
volunteers, I
Yeah, but the
expect.
leaves and stuff, but there's
Yeah.
still silt and
Inside of
everything
it,
else.
yeah.
that goes
Yeah.
into it.
But he did mention leaves too, and
Yeah,
we went and
yeah.
looked at one, and even though it has that grate on top,
It was
you know,
charcoal
that's organic
leaves.
matter gets in there too.
Got two of them at the
But I
bottom
just
of
think,
my driveway.
we just need a handle on it, it's like
But I-
anything
Oh, yeah.
else, you know.
But there are two types of catch basins.
Yeah.
This only covers the ones with the grates on,
Yeah.
taking them off and cleaning. There are the others that are alongside of the road that you see where
The
they,
raised ones, or that
yeah,
goes
the
in the
raised ones with the
sides, yeah, with
roofs,
the roofs,
right, and
okay.
it just goes down in. Those
Yeah.
are totally different.
Yeah,
Oh, so
right.
this won't take
That's
care of
correct.
those, okay.
Because those take more,
But you said there is an account, but there might not be account for those either.
don't know.
I think this is I honestly think the 650 catch basins is an estimate, because today he really doesn't know how many there are.
Well, he'll find out.
Yeah,
If we're
exactly.
paying-
Yeah.
We're paying for them.
We don't have that in our GIS system?
They should.
The catch basin layer,
No.
No, they should.
It would be a
Someone
good
has to-
senior project.
Someone has to
That would
walk
be.
all over town.
Give them
Yeah.
GPS.
Seriously.
No, seriously, that would be a
Oh,
good
yeah.
senior project.
This seems to me something that you
Here's a
want.
handheld GPS, go.
Yeah.
I like the guys who walk around with the backpack GPS with the antenna on it.
Yeah.
It's for the Google Street View. Yeah. That's from the car.
I've seen their cars go around.
I don't see any reason why not to do this. I mean.
Right, right, I know,
Yeah.
and I, we are hoping that the capital committee was really hoping you would support this.
As long as that
because we
number's
really felt
right.
it
We
was-
Yeah.
Come back and say,
Yeah.
well, we thought it was 20, but it's really 65 per, and.
Yeah,
as long
that's
as
the
it goes
only
up and all that.
question.
Yeah, and if he's gotten
We
that
don't have a
contracted
great track
rate,
record on
yeah.
estimates around
So I
that.
think you should have questions for this as well
That
as
is
his
very
budget.
true.
Yeah.
So-
Yep.
That's very true.
I'd like him to absolutely confirm the 20, and
Yep.
if so, go.
Yeah. All right, so include that in there.
So
In your questions?
So that would.
Any other liaison reports? Nothing. I don't have anything. All right, so we've got our assignments for next week.
Yeah.
So next week, excuse me, we're back in here.
Well, we-
Wow.
Yeah.
You brought it up at a good time.
Any other business? Anything else?
Nope.
No other agenda items for next time? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Do we have a
Yes.
motion that we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion's adjourned. Thank you all.
Are the animals?